Okay, are we live? Are we live?
We are live.
Live.
Who
Welcome,
is?
everyone.
Uh, Thank you for the
Okay,
welcome.
it is so good to be here. It is Saturday night.
Oh yeah.
I've managed to misplace my glasses, but it is the 20th of June and the year 2026. And
Okay.
y'all know that I'm your favorite apostate, so we can just set that aside because we all have this understanding just to entertain me.
I came for that brainwash.
I've conditioned y'all very well like that. So
Yep.
um
Slap the conditioner on.
yes. So okay, I asked a question earlier to someone, and I think
Okay.
I'm gonna ask everybody here about it.
Hmm.
What if Armageddon is simply a location on this earth?
Ooh.
You know,
Ooh.
like it's a place you can go to physically, like it's a piece of land,
All
Armageddon.
right.
And what if that piece of land is what Armageddon is, rather than the apocalypse that we've learned many versions of how it could turn out as end of the world apocalyptic kind of stuff. And if that's the case, would that mean that you no longer believe in the story of the Bible? Or could that coincide with the Bible? And what if where the 144,000 end up being the anointed, the ones that the organization calls Christ's brothers, what if they're going to be hanging out in the same location as we are that thought of ourselves as the great crowd? And what would that location be? Would it be earth? Would it be heaven? Would it be somewhere in between or somewhere else totally? I'm asking these questions to open up your imagination and to be okay with asking yourself, well, what if it, because and I'm not trying to be disrespectful to biblical
Got it.
theology at all.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of a way of critically thinking. You
Yes.
go beyond what you've been told or what you've learned, but what if it's actually this other way? So,
Hmm.
for instance, um, Matthew has talked a lot about the rod of discipline, right? And I asked him one day, or told him one day, that I kind of think of the rod as being kind of the staff that
Yes.
the shepherd would carry, and it would have this curve at the end. I don't know if any of you guys have watched the Apollo. It's where
By hook
entertainment
and
shows
by
up.
crook.
It's kind of where entertainment shows up, and if they don't sing well, the audience at the Apollo will literally
That's
boo
right.
them off stage, and some dude with a white suit and a white staff that has this really cool curve in it actually takes them with their rod and pulls them
Mm-hmm.
off the stage as he's tap dancing away with whoever this
That's right.
was in the rod. Now, my friend who I consider my mentor, Denise Carter, she's this beautiful black woman. She's probably still in Palm Springs. Okay, she's known as a entertainer, long, just here in Southern California, all over the place. Denise Carter, and so she got accepted for the Apollo, and she's one of those people that smokes daily the marijuana, which, okay, that's what she does. I don't, because I got paranoid. I don't ever want to touch that stuff again. But she does, and she never got stranger ridiculous on it, so it's never bothered me. So she was fretting. How is she going to make sure she has this with her? And she, I had some friends that made some suggestions and this, that, and the other. So anyways, it didn't get there with her. She didn't get to do that. And when she came back, I said, how did it go? She says, I froze. And I said, have you ever had, and I was going to ask her, have you ever had stage fright? And before I could even finish that, she said, never. Okay. She's done other TV shows where like, she did like Tina Turner. Left a good man in the city, pumped a lot of gas in New Orleans. Like, she's amazing. So evidently she got taken off the stage with Mr. White Man, or gentleman, probably a black gentleman in a white suit. And he tap danced over to her and then tap danced her off stage.
That sort of,
it was just wow, right? Now, why am I bringing this up?
Because of Armageddon as a place and a rod, and the rod of discipline. And I tend towards this thing called archetypes.
Okay. Can you explain what an archetype is?
I'm going to look it up, because every time I explain archetypes, I find that I confuse people more, because I use examples like a father or a mother or a sun and the moon. But archetypes are a universal inherited pattern of thought, behavior, and symbolic imagery. Hence I would go, okay, if you see like the father in the sky, that would be the sun, or the mother in the sky would be the moon. There's your symbolic imagery, and it comes up in dreams as well. And you find that imagery is universal, because you might have a person of a different language or a different culture, and they dream the same way.
They dream the same way.
Does that make sense? Yeah, because I mean, take a person that's let's take an Aborigine in Australia, right? So they might have different words for what you say in America, but the imagery that's in the subconscious or in the dream state is the same, but you give it a different word, or you might even attach a different meaning to it, but the archetype is the same.
So Mother Earth, would that be an example?
Oh, good one. Yeah.
Okay. Mother Earth. And then the organization has been spoken of as Mother, yes? Mother Org. I say Mother Org, but Mother Organization. A lot of people within mainstream Christianity would call the church the body of Christ. Would that work too?
Yeah, absolutely, because the Christ is divine. So, I mean, you even think of divine, right? So, I mean, thinking in farmer terminology, you'd go, okay, well, there are the rays of the sun that come from heaven and come down through the clouds, and they reach the plant that grows out of the ground, the seed that sprouts, and out of it comes the grapevine. And it is this machinery in a biological vegetative mechanism, if you want to say, that is converting the sunlight in this magical, mystical way into grapes that I'm able to press into wine and become intoxicated. And so it's that process of transmutation, the lead into gold, or the sunlight into something tangible, the blood of the vine. Yes. That is able to sustain and make the heart of mortal man or woman rejoice for that matter. So it's a transmutational thing that we're talking about in, if you want to say, farmer terminology or farmer archetypes or farmer symbology. What was the first miracle that Christ performs? He changes the water into wine. But when we now see
the
it
good
as,
wine,
yeah,
good
and
wine, the kind they wait for the rest later
sure.
on in the evening to drink. He
So
started
was
off
it
with that.
exactly? So was that a miracle, or it was a grape seed planted in the ground? That starts sucking the water and absorbing the oxygen in the air and producing, or taking the carbon dioxide and producing oxygen, and there's photosynthesis going on, and the miracle is, ta-da, grape juice and wine. I mean,
Yeah.
when you start looking at it that way, it's timeless awareness, because you said, oh, well, hang on, Matt, that isn't this instantaneous miracle that we see written in scripture or written in holy writings or the Bible text. And you say, well, what has time got to do with it? Because, I mean, from a biblical point of view, Almighty God exists outside of time and is timeless. So what's the story? So
Yeah.
it now changes or transmutes something of you say a natural phenomena, and it removes the miracle aspect, because now you've explained it.
Hello, Dallas, and hello, Natasha and J Mars. Good to see you guys. So
Hi, Dallas.
I'm asking, what if Armageddon is a location on this earth,
Okay.
a place where we could physically go to?
I would say yes.
Me too, yes. There actually is a place on earth.
But I've got reasons to support that from a scholarly point of view, if you're interested.
I am. Let me just finish this.
Okay.
And I'm just putting these questions out there to nobody's gonna fail a test. I'm just asking to get you thinking and to get you imagining, or what if it's this way, or what if it could be that? That's what I'm trying to do, encourage imagination and on these different subjects. So the rod, to not scare the rod when disciplining a child. I've asked, what if it's kind of a rod that a shepherd would use to guide his sheep, rather than a spanking, or maybe with a belt, or whatever comes to mind.
I appreciate that, but Linda James, I'm gonna say something here. Okay. For a JW, if you tell a JW don't salute the flag, they don't. If you tell a JW beat your kid, they'll beat the kid. If you tell a JW don't beat the kid, they also won't beat the kid. Whatever stand it is, you tell a JW hop, skip, jump, go to the left, go to the right, shake your foot about, that's what happens. When you now confuse the issue, this is when you create a psychological breakdown. When you now make a double bind and you say go left when you meant go right, what is the person to do? And if you say, oh, well, if you go left, you're going to get disciplined. If you go right, you're going to get disciplined. Actually, there's nothing you can do, which means that our whole idea of salvation is a complete farce, because there is nothing you can do on this planet that's ever going to be acceptable to God. Nothing at all. When there is that realization, your hope completely breaks, because you go, well, what the hell was I doing?
Earning your salvation by works, because faith without works is dead, right?
Well, that would be something. That would be something, but actually there's nothing. So if you are in a JW automaton mindset where you're going, oh yes, it is faith by works. It's the amount of hours, or the fact that I tick a little box at the end of the month and say, oh, I did field service. Excuse me if this sounds like a rant, Linda James. But that whole mindset is go and attend a meeting, go and attend a field service, go pick up a watchtower. Did you read your Bible today? Did you go and pray? Did you go and do your charitable works like you were expected to do? It's a complete program. That's what your schedule is. That's what your life is. And then when you're told, no, oh, by the way, that wasn't what was required, That's the gaslighting thing that comes out of it. Oh, you believed that was what was required. Oh, no, there is no such
If
thing.
you do
We
that,
said that it was
I
a
do.
possible maybe.
Yeah, yeah. You're
I
over
think you say,
enthusiastic.
you use the word, it is preposterous when this is the voice of God that is telling you to go in one direction, whereas actually there's two directions and they're conflicting and competing against each other. So there's no approval, and it's not even reflected within the society. There is no approval. That's a psychological break.
Yes, it's what I call mind fuckery, and
Yeah.
it's intended to disintegrate your brain.
Yeah.
It's intended to do that. To just, I don't have a better word. I'm sure you do with sci-fi talk.
Well, Natasha says nothing is spontaneous in JW jails. I look at that statement, I go, wow,
Mhm.
is that on point? Because you're always in the gulag. If I use the word gulag, do you know what I'm talking about? Well, it's the same as jail.
Yes.
You never break out. And in fact, I've even been told that a JW compound, such as Bethel, is in fact jail.
So, yeah, I would think so. I have a nephew there now. He's there now in New York,
I don't know if I was
and
getting a bit hectic there, Linda James. Maybe you're able to take it.
it's all good because that's you've heard me. I go off.
Yeah,
I have
but
to bring
you
myself
do it
back.
with class, and you
And
got a
you do
way.
too, darling. You do. Trust me. There's no,
Okay.
so what I've been. Let me ask you this: in
Okay.
Jehovah's Witness doctrine, is it true that the person cleans themselves up to be white as snow?
Good question. Yeah, because it's the blood of the lamb, isn't it? That's what they say from a spiritual, metaphorical, archetypal viewpoint, right?
Mhm. I was reading this the other day. I screenshot it, so if I find it, I'll send it to you. And I've also read, and I keep hearing the con like the wages of sin is death, and what goes with that is that as if a person's sins go away when they die. Is that Watchtower teaching too?
Yeah. So what is it? The wages sin pays is death, right? I think that's the quote.
Okay.
Does that ring a bell?
Yes. I don't see any need for Jesus then, really,
Ah.
at all. If we're gonna, clean our own self up, and it's our own death that gives us forgiveness of our sins, I don't even see how Jesus's death, blood sacrifice would even be needed if it's our job to earn it, right? No, I don't think so. Yeah, there's really not a need for Jesus. That's kind of the conclusion I end up with when I hear this. And I think that the argument of whether Jesus died on a stake or a cross is a diversion. A diversion, I call it so close, and yet so far. Um, so here we
Well,
are talking about,
it's why the religion is called a death cult, right?
yeah,
I mean, that's
yeah.
where we get it. It's the same. We started off with archetypes today.
Hmm.
So you go and you sacrifice to the volcano god. What
Yeah,
is that?
that made perfect sense thousands and thousands of years ago as the earth struck, just
Right.
kept shaking and shaking, because there's a volcano that's kind of burping a bit, or that what are those things that the plates are shifting and there's earthquakes that'll happen.
Tectonic plates.
Thank you. Yes.
But I mean, then you can come to the archetype and say the volcano is feminine. You know,
Maybe
the
so. Yeah.
volcano is running hot. Linda James. It's running hot. This is feminine. This is procreative power, because out of it shoots matter, and matter is mother. This is where we get it, and we say that out of the waters emerges matter. Out of the liquid,
Wow.
and we say this is a whole maternal cycle that we're describing here. This is a procreative cycle that's giving birth here. There's the shaking going on. There's the smoke and the flames. And this is Mount Sinai, because what is Mount Sinai? Sinai is the moon mountain, ladies and gentlemen, and others, because that's Moon Mountain, and up Moses goes, up to the top, and it's smoking, and he has this holy experience, this divine experience, comes down, and there's rays shooting out of his eyes. But it's Moon Mountain. That's what it was. It wasn't the sun. It was the moon. That's Sinai, and that's where you get sin from. So it's this idea of polarities. So you have to fill the polarity correctly to get your balance. So if you want to talk about masculine or feminine energies, this is the kind of thing that you see in Israel, Elohim, also the Father, Isis, and then Ra in the middle there. But it's also Sol, Mon, Sol being the sun. Mon is the moon, like Blue Monday. This is the archetypes that we see. Or if you want to go back to Eden, it's the two trees. You've got the tree of the knowledge of good and bad, and then you've got the tree of life.
No, I'm sorry to interrupt you because you're really on a roll, but why did God tell Adam they could eat from every tree except that one? And then we come to find out after they ate from it, there's this other tree they don't want them to eat from, and they better get kicked out of there pretty soon before they get to the other one, the tree of life, right? Were they told, did I miss something? Were they?
No, you didn't. But I mean, you can equate this to Armageddon. It's the same thing you were doing with Armageddon and going, well, is this a literal place or it's archetype? So is Eden a literal place or it's an archetype that fits a pattern, and therefore it's eternal? I mean, these are questions that have occupied scholars for millennia, So, I mean, you can take it.
There's no right or wrong. We're just exploring.
No, there isn't. And you got it. That's it.
Yeah, no. So, what you're saying is taking me to that place. Now, is that the same mountain where Mountain of the Gods of El? There's a certain mountain that's called where all the gods are. That's the one, Mount Sinai.
So the Mount of Olives, and then your equivalent would be Mount Olympus, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So you can see. Oh, hang on, that's words even similar. What happened? Is there a crossover culturally? Yeah. Often it used to be called a scholarly mistake. Now what do we find? Are we finding? Oh, hang on, no, actually, it's not a scholarly mistake. It's correct.
Oh my God. What is it called? A clarification. Yes.
Oh yeah. Good light. More light. New light.
Getting brighter and brighter. Yes. What is that? Proverbs 4:18. I think so.
Sure.
Which, by the way, Proverbs 4:18, where they talk about the light getting brighter and brighter. I've come to find that is being shared out of context and what's going on there. It is a father talking to his children, or one child, saying, this is what it's like. This is what life is like. You take one road, it's a good road. It's like the sun's going to get brighter and brighter. And if you take the wrong road, it's going to be darker and darker. Like, this is what to expect with the choices that you make. So that's a father showing his wisdom. And I like that wisdom because, if a child does take the road that gets darker and darker, maybe they'll realize, yeah, light's not showing up here at all. Maybe I better turn myself around and make a U-turn and head back the other way and go that other route. And the faithful and discreet slave that the governing body quotes in Matthew 24, claiming to be the faithful and discreet slave. This is a parable. It is not, I repeat, not a prophecy. A parable.
Sure.
Matthew talks in parables a lot. It's kind of like da 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 da. It's kind of like this, that, and the other. Or you can compare it to this, that, or the other. That's a parable.
Yes.
And it helps people to understand things. It's not a prophecy, but check it out for yourself and see what you think. And you actually are allowed to do that. You're actually allowed to open your Bible, read it, and come up with your own conclusions. The organization has told you that only the governing body gets to interpret Scripture. And the explanation is that the Bible wasn't given to us individually, but given to the congregation, aka the governing body.
But they accept consultancy. In fact, they actually hire consultants.
This I don't know about. Do tell.
Yeah, sure. So Massimo Intervene, for instance.
No, they do not.
Is he not? Is he not a consultant?
I'm sorry. Do they ask him about what Scripture means, or?
Well, remember, it's a legalistic entity that they have to remind the branch committee. Oh, by the way, this is not a corporation. They actually have to put that in the branch manual. They have to remind the branch committee this is not a corporation.
Oh, wow.
Why would they remind them?
We're not in love. We're not in love. We're just hanging out. Don't get it wrong.
Yes, I know it looks like a duck. I know it quacks like a duck. I know it moves like a duck and swims like. It's not a duck, guys. It's not a duck. Please be reminded. I know you want to say it's a duck, but it ain't a duck. Got that? Like the sky's not blue. It's not blue.
Nope.
So this is how you start the show, right, Linda James? Why? Mm-hmm. Because that is the joke. What is it? Many a truth said in jest. You're going, oh, by the way, I'm going to screw with your mind, but actually in a positive way, because this is the proper brainwashing. I've been told I'm an apostate. I've adopted the word, but you want to know something? Actually, this is liberation, because we were told one thing, and we were told that was the mouthpiece of God, and there is no other truth other than what we tell you. Well, that's mind programming. That's exactly what that is. And that's why we're in the mess that we're in. That's why we're having to get persons to go to psychologists and psychiatrists. That's why JW's even doing that. That's why that was my assignment at the branch, to take branch committee wives or branch committee members off to the psychiatrist, not the psychologist, the psychiatrist, to get a prescription of drugs because they've got a mental problem, or the Watchtower writer who has a mental problem because he can't reconcile what he's actually teaching, because the mind is so messed up through mental gymnastics. It's not natural.
Exactly. We don't get to be who we authentically are. We have to be the new personality, which is somebody other than who we are. That is not healthy. It's actually very toxic when we do that to ourselves. I think of the new personality like it's an one size fits all.
Sure.
And everybody's supposed to wear this one size that fits all. And I know there is personality out there that will fit well with this kind of setting, but it's not everybody. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not everybody. So when you have to behave in a certain manner that's other than who you authentically are, it really messes with the psyche. It's toxic to the psyche, and within a setting that is God's there, it's spiritual, and it's the God of the universe, the God that created you, and you find out that if you act who you naturally are, you are disappointing God for being who He actually created you to be? You mean I get
Yeah,
to be an artist? No, don't do that. You need to go out and do more work for the organization, but that's not how they're going to present it to you.
sure,
They're
sure.
going to say, God comes first, above everything else.
We've got
You
some.
know what? There's
We've got
different
some.
levels.
Sorry, Linda James. I was going to say this. We've
Oh,
got some greetings and some great visitors on the channel.
okay, I'm just going to finish this up. Um, I lost my spot. I'll figure it out later. I'll
I'm
remember it
sorry.
later. No
I'm
worries.
sorry. I regret that now. Sorry.
No, don't worry. It happens all the time.
We've got Life After Religion that's
Hey,
in
you
the
guys.
chat, and they're saying hi. How's it, Linda James? You're going to remember. We've got Natasha Peters who's supporting and giving us some really great commentary. Diamond Dave's with us, so
Hi, Dave.
we are enjoying Dave's company here. John J. Mars is also with us. Dallas is also chipping in, saying giving greetings. And yeah, so we've got a real cool bunch that's with us in the audience. Mage Grey Wolf is also on board, so shout out to him. We've also got ERIU, not sure how to pronounce your name, Eriu, Eriu. Nice to be with you, 949. Thank you very much for coming on board and sending in the greets. I think that brings us up to date, Linda James. But yes, you were talking about archetypes until I derailed you. I must apologize.
It's okay. Um, yeah, you were talking if it's looks and acts like a duck, you're going to be told no, that is not a duck, and you're going to be told it's something else. When you know what you're seeing is a duck, it might be strange from a human standpoint. You know, um, you're going to have to believe what is told to you from us, even though it seems strategically wrong from a man's standpoint. Trump has literally told us not to believe what we see or hear,
Uh,
except for him, which makes me think so. Watchtower. I think that was November 2013. I don't know the
well,
whole quote.
Watchtower for me is a Watchtower writer who's been writing the publications for 40 years, who is standing in the crowd and goes up to a branch committee member and says, "Excuse me, please, can I go to the bathroom?"
Yes.
And I just go, this should be one of the most superior minds who's been immersed in Bible reading, who's been immersed in creating spiritual food from the Most High God, whose synapses should be aligned to the divine pattern, and is going, I think I need to go to the bathroom. I don't know if my body is telling me if I should or I shouldn't. Can you make a decision for me?
Right? That would be a display of loyalty, wouldn't it?
It's a display, excuse me, in my humble opinion, of a diseased mind, which is
Yeah.
what an apostate is accused of.
Yeah, mentally diseased. It's amazing. The very first Bible study one will have with a Jehovah's Witness, that free home Bible study, at the end, they will tell you Satan's going to use your family and your friends to try to get you to stop studying. And as soon as your family and friends find out you're studying with the Jehovah's Witnesses, guess what their face is going to look like? They're going to be like,
Um,
oh, God, no.
Satan is a chubby-faced individual at a morning worship table
Mhm.
conducting the day text with a suit and a tie. I know that's radical, but why would you have? Okay, so you go, oh no, Matt, that's an unfair statement. That's a real rock the boat kind of statement. I say, well, Well, didn't Jesus Christ dismiss Judas? Scripturally, it says that Satan entered into him, right?
No,
And
I don't
if we're
recall that, but I believe you. I mean, I
if
don't.
we're going to say, oh well, you've got a faithful and discreet slave, what about the opposite polarity? Because there's an evil slave as well.
That's
When was
right.
the last time we read about that one? Or
Yeah,
we were
we
so
don't go
busy
down.
quoting the parable of the faithful and discreet slave that we ignored the big devil in the room.
It's like they went somewhere to house sit, like when you go to somebody's home and they're going to be gone out of town, and maybe they have a pet and you're going to make sure the pet gets fed or whatever, walk the dog, but you're house sitting. It's like that's what it sounds like they're doing. While the owner's away, they're the ones that are given all their possessions and gets to use all their possessions is in charge of all their possessions and their whatever else needs to be done. Like that's the rank that I imagine them saying that they're taking.
Linda James, I have a very bad attitude today.
That's all good. You know what? It's about time, and it is your turn. Okay, it is your turn. And
Oh,
I allow cussing. I allow outbursts as long as it's not directed towards me or the audience.
okay.
You need to bitch about something. That is okay. This is okay.
Yeah.
If you find yourself in tears, this is a safe place to do that. As long as we're not yelling and screaming at each other. Anne Marie, the last time I talked with her on the phone, she gave me a
Yeah.
call and I said, can I just bitch and complain and you know that it's not at you? And,
Oh, what a cool person.
and I started off
Anne-Marie is.
with everything that was going on with me in my head that had me nutso. Okay? She listened, did not interrupt. And I felt so good after just,
Okay.
and this, and then there was that, and how dare them, and da da da. I was really,
Ow!
you know,
Damn
at that
it!
point. Yeah. I did.
Oh, it's great story. Sorry, I take this very seriously, Linda James.
I don't,
Yes.
you can laugh about it.
Yeah. No, it's I'm happy, and you know it because it's a positive story. How about that? There we go. What a recovery, right? There we go.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Every religion and
yeah.
expert witness in their own interpretation. Yeah.
Well, we've just had an
That's what
example
I
of
was
true
talking
friendship.
about.
Yeah.
Yes. You actually
Yes.
do get to open the Bible and look at it and let it speak to you, whatever resonates with you.
Oh, it's speaking to me, Linda James. It's shouting at me because you know that in A Clockwork Orange, with Malcolm McDowell, the the chap that gets thrown into prison, he says he wants a Bible in prison, but because he's so in the head and a villain, the reason for the Bible, and he gets it granted, they say, yeah, here you go, there's a Bible, and it gets thrown in, is so that he can get off on all the bad stuff that's written in the Bible.
Yep.
That's the joke. That's the Stanley Kubrick joke in Clockwork Orange.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, he's fed by the prime minister. I don't know. It's probably bacon and eggs or something while he's in bed, because he's serving the government. So they're going, oh yeah, you're one of us. We can see where your mind is. You're one of us. This is the Clockwork Orange. That's the big reveal. Yeah. And the prime minister is going, here you go. I'm going to cut the bacon and eggs. Open the tunnel. Ah! That's how it ends. I mean, it's that powerful.
Wow. You know, I thought about this with okay, let's think about the Armageddon that has been presented to us from the organization. And I'm going to go towards the book called Paradise Lost, Paradise Gained.
Ooh.
Okay, so that book talks about and let me just say here, I can understand why my mother was recruited into this organization. It showed wholesome families. It showed all kinds of wholesome, all kinds of this is the right way.
Mm.
If you go by these steps, things are going to go well. And my mother had a very horrible childhood herself,
Okay.
so that was probably very attractive to her.
Right.
So within that book, it shows, what a nice family would look like. You've got a man and a woman, 2 kids, and talks about how Armageddon shows up. There's pictures in there that shows buildings falling down, portions of the buildings falling down from the sky, circles of, I don't know, meteors or something that has
Yes.
a tail of flames coming
Yes.
down and hitting things to break the buildings or
Right.
even hit people. The earth opens up in a huge crack, and you
Okay.
see a little girl with her tricycle
Uh-huh.
that has landed in the bottom of that. You see the wrath of God. Okay? Now, what came to my mind one day was, oh, okay. Narcissists usually have a hissy fit, they break shit, and who's going to pick it up? Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing as good Jehovah's Witnesses, right?
Okay.
After he's destroyed all of the evil ones or non-Jehovah's Witnesses, we get the joy of burying all the bodies.
What a way to
Don't worry
spend an
about it.
afternoon.
It's not going to be all that bad because animals are going to come and eat part of that flesh, and the birds are going to pick out the eyes.
Well, Paradise Lost, if you take a look at the inset cover, it's full of dinosaurs. Remember that? Because the dinosaurs were going to be resurrected in paradise.
That's right. That's right. I don't remember the insert, but yeah, I do
And
remember.
it was in the Green Bible too.
That's right. That is right. And if one has one of those Bibles with that little dinosaur in it, usually on the back, it's the cover of the Bible where you open it up and it shows like a map.
I drew nude women in my mother's green Bible when I was a kid because I thought that was art.
Why wouldn't you? That's exactly what was in literature, though.
Exactly.
It was in literature.
My mom said she couldn't bring that Bible to the meeting. It was so pornographic.
It's only pornographic if you're 4 and you can't look at it anymore. Oh my God.
So there we go. I thought that you might appreciate that as a mother.
Yes. There's so many books that have, especially during the time of Judge Rutherford, that has the naked body on the front of many of those books. And it's not really like stand out. It's like if you could take a piece of paper, lay it on top, and use a pencil and go across it with the pencil, go across the whole piece of paper, you will see the picture. The engraved, the cover is engraved with the picture, and it's usually a man. You see the back side of the man with his left or right arm risen, facing the sun, and you see the rays of the sun. I don't know, maybe there was some sun worship happening there.
Yeah, or being or a big moon.
That's possible. That's possible too.
All right, I gotta take it down a few notches. I think that we've got somebody in the waiting room.
Okay.
Do you see anyone there, Linda James? They're probably wanting to bring sanity to our discussion.
Diamond Dave is in the house. Are you
I
Diamond
mean,
Dave?
I was gonna bring sanity
Yes.
to the discussion, but then I literally jumped in and heard the first thing I heard was Matthew drawing pictures of naked women and
I'm like so proud of him.
right.
Yeah,
So I guess today's episode is sponsored by pornography.
well, it was.
Sometimes we call it pornea where we used to live.
You see, this is the emperor has no clothes, and it takes a child to point it out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that was, as Linda James says, it was in the literature. It was the early programming. That was what was there.
I mean, the emperor has no clothes, and apparently the empress is not wearing clothes either. So,
sure.
Well, a week ago on a different show.
Oh, the memories.
There was a brand that showed up on someone's pants, the back pocket, and the brand, I kid you not, was David.
Excuse me.
David. And that, like the artist statue of David, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so evidently this was brought to the attention of the higher ups within the organization, and this guy Matthew belonged to him. And so when he's being talked to like he should know, but he didn't quite understand it. So when he found out what was really going on, these pants got shown to him, and it had this emblem of David, which was naked. And then David, Matthew gets a marker of some sort and puts pants on him, drew pants on David to make it a non-pornographic image. He didn't mark the whole emblem out. He drew pants on him because that's what an artist would do.
Well, this was a disfellowshipping offense, but I mean, 3 floors up, and Michelangelo's David and the Vitruvian Man was on display in the JW Writing Desk Library for everybody to see. Besides, will there be a world without war with the UN war? They'll beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks, and there he is, bare backside, for everybody to see as you walk into the library. Say, well, folks, if we're going to now moan about a stitch that's a pixel big like this, and this is really offending the whole laundry department, to the extent that we've actually got to say, well, let's tar and feather old Gray here and make sure that he's paraded out and kicked out with his suitcases and everything onto the street. Well, let's go and take a look upstairs. Maybe we should start burning the library down, because that's what you're calling for, because those things are far more graphic. And you better destroy the entire collection of Golden Age and Constellation.
Yes, exactly.
But I mean, this is the culture. You got to live it because it just sounds like, Matt, what fanciful world were you living in?
There's a lawyer in San Diego, here in California, called Zelkin, Irwin Zelkin. And when he speaks of the organization, he speaks of it as an alternate universe. And I think it's right. It really is a different reality, a very different reality. Diamond Dave, when you were involved with Mormonism, did you ever get that kind of sensation of things being very different within the culture of Mormonism than, say, society at large?
Well, yeah, and I mean I would say it's like Christianity on like steroids, but like the Mormon culture is very much, especially in Utah, it's very much like its own culture and thing. It's I don't know. It's like what Mormons would call like milquetoast in some ways. It's like very bland or boring, even though like it's strict, right? Like even the interactions seem like between people are like very plastic in a way.
Yeah.
Now there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes because like people who aren't Mormon, they look at, a Mormon college couple, right? And obviously they're not thinking about what goes on behind closed doors. They just see after church the guy wearing a suit holding the hand of his girl in a dress, and they go to a creamery and he buys her a soda. It's very like
Mhm.
1950s. Right.
Yes.
So yeah, the culture may not be the same as a JW's, but just it's definitely similar in the fact that the cultures are just very different than mainstream society. Um,
But tonight, I'm noticing that Matthew and I are in a very sarcastic conversation. We're being facetious. So we're making light, we're mocking things. So it's kind of a different flavor than we usually use, but it's kind of feeling like it's about the right thing to do tonight.
are we being
Yes.
facetious or salacious?
There it is.
Well, I was thinking of your word preposterous.
Yes.
That's bouncing around my head, Linda James. I think it's a good choice of word when you are presented with, oh, by the way, this is the divine voice that's speaking for you, the most healthy voice that you could ever be guided by. And it's a voice of contradictions and double binds and catch-22s that aren't reconciled. Well, this is a joke. It's a cosmic joke.
Yeah, what was that second word you mentioned, Diamond Dave? Did you say facetious or salacious?
I said, yeah, salacious is the second word.
What does that mean, salacious?
I could pull the exact definition for you, but it's basically like insulting or degrading, right? Salacious.
I would say some of that's going on
specifically with sexual things, isn't it?
Well,
yeah.
and anything like, well, basically, I'm doing it about
indecent
leadership of the organization, and you can't get by with telling a story about that without pornea, because that's going to always show up.
Well, remember, you go outside to do field service and you have a slight breeze and persons become aroused because of the suppression.
I would not be able to hang if I was a man. That would be a very bad day for me.
That's the culture.
Difficult, yeah. Yeah, that's too bad. And by the way, if a man does any kind of self-care,
okay,
that is something that leads to homosexuality. Yes, it does. This is Watchtower indoctrination.
Then service desk is full of those kind of people, because I would walk in and I would just go, this has got to stop, folks.
No. Oh my
God.
God.
Scared to put a black light in like Bethel at the service desk, right? You just turn off the lights, throw on a black light, and see what happens.
Well, they do that. They do that in the laundry department because that's a way that, yeah.
I don't doubt it. I do not doubt it.
So there's certain laundry items which get a blue bag, and there's certain laundry items which get a yellow bag. That's how it works. I work laundry.
That audience, there's more than blue envelopes. There's blue bags.
Yeah. So when it's in a blue bag, you have gloves because you don't touch it because of the law that was given, the Levitical law that was given to Israel, which says that there must be nothing found indecent. And so you have the stories of seminal fluid that is poured upon the ground and is a sin. So this is the idea that was still recurrent and policy of the laundry department that was saying, geez, yeah, your guys are rough. It's got to go into a blue bag. And by the way, if we see that there's a pattern of this that's too much, we're going to have to alert branch committee to assign a couple of loving elders to talk to you about it. That's how the Pillowgate thing happened. Pillowgate wasn't a new event, by the way.
No, it wasn't. To me, I think that's one of the most confining and wicked things you can do to a gentleman at that age, okay?
Sure.
Especially this age, to forbid any kind of self-care in that area, it's like horrifying. The thought is horrifying to me.
But it gets worse because the Gilead instructors are told, by the way, if you're going to instruct the men about self-care in the Gilead units, you have to be honest about it because statistically we know you've done it. So they would tell the Gilead students, by the way, we were all guilty of this.
But doesn't that mean? That doesn't mean. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I used to write prescriptions for this. Just here you go. It's all good. Here's a prescription.
Sorry if that got a bit hectic, but that's the truth. That's exactly what happens.
No, I actually have a question because it's like
Sure.
just what you said. Statistically, everyone's done it. So if like the elders went to talk to someone who had a blue bag, what would happen if both of the elders had blue bags? Like, is there someone above them that would talk to them? Like, how far does it go up the chain?
Well, my problem was I would get those assignments. I would get those on the hub with the admin 2000. They say, Matt, guess who you've got to go and talk to?
Oh, gee.
And it includes not just the men. How about the women in the Bethel? I mean, I had a Gilead instructor who says, Matt, I've got to go and see so-and-so, a woman at the branch, an older woman at the branch, because the branch committee's received a report about certain disturbing behaviors that is getting around the branch. And he's going, I'm so embarrassed, I can't handle it, but it's the assignment that's arrived electronically through the system. And I said, okay, what's happened? He says, oh, by the way, they've been monitoring her internet, and it's the ResNet systems detected pornographic material. So he said, of what nature? He says, well, that's why I'm talking to you about it, because it's lingerie. She bought lingerie, and the system is so finely tuned, it's flagged it as pornographic. But there's no problem about this, Matt. In my own humble opinion, as an older man, there's no problem. This is a healthy woman that we're talking about that's just bought lingerie. But they're making such a noise about it. It's the same type of people who are worried about Michelangelo's David having a little tiny stitch that's now pornographic material. These are the persons that are put into these judgment seats, and there's no regulation. And he says, now I'm put into a committee situation with two other individuals who do not have the spiritual maturity or the mental or psychological maturity to deal with this. And I'm overridden because it's a democratic vote. This really happened. This really happened. We destroyed people like this.
Voted you to do it? Is that what you're saying by democratic?
Okay, well, I'm going to use the words. A couple of masturbators that have overridden you in the judicial tribunal. It's embarrassing. And when I find out these kind of things, I say, oh, by the way, you were given this mercy, because I remember walking into on you in your room at Bethel, and this is what you had a problem with, and you were given this mercy, and you can't deal with sister so and so in a merciful way. I mean, this is utmost hypocrisy. So look, when it becomes one particular incident of this, you go, okay, well, this is just human imperfection. It's an embarrassment that's come up. But what is it? The woman who protests, she does protest too much. Usually, that's the person with the problem, right? So when I'm quoting Shakespeare badly and butchering it here, what I'm saying is the person that's moaning about it the most is usually the big problem. And that was what was being exposed. And we realized that this tribunal thing that was happening, yes, you had your good sector, but it was also about liability. And this was the thing that I didn't know that was happening, because I was shielded from that by compartmentalizing, which is very, very sophisticated. Now, Dave will probably be sitting there and going, Matt, by the way, you're talking about a pattern I saw in Mormonism. You know, this isn't a big revelation. It's an institutional kind of problem. Yeah, I recognize that.
What ended up happening? Did you have something you wanted to say, Dave?
No, I was just listening.
Okay.
Actually, I wasn't even thinking of a response. Actually, I was just kind of listening.
I'm glad you're here. So whatever happened to sister bought myself some lingerie for my husband, sister?
No, well, thankfully, this was a Gilead instructor, by the way, who was confiding in me and saying, look, this is the problem that he's having to deal with, and it's an override. And I just go, it's the same advice I give to persons now. I say, well, don't isolate yourself. If you're one person and it's a democratic vote, remember this is a theocracy, it's not a democracy. So actually, strictly speaking, and I've heard the director of Lepta and Minor say this, you can still be in a minority. If you know that it's ethically and morally incorrect, you should stand your ground, even if you've got a majority vote that's against you. Technically, that's the correct ethical thing to do. So that was the advice I would give. I'd say, well, stand your ground on this. And if you're not getting it, and you've got two, because it's a tribunal, you've got three that is chosen on the judicial. I said, you know that there is a provision to bring in other elders. You can bring in 4 or 5. And I remember a chairman saying, oh, you can't do that. And I said, absolutely you can, because if you're employing this idea of Matthew 18:15 to 35, it works both ways. You don't have, a leader that you can't now say to the leader, by the way, we have a problem, or we have evidence against you here. You're trying to control the narrative. That's called a conflict of interest. If you're the person that's the guilty party, if you're now accusing others and you're using this whole idea of disfellowshipping or removal as a weaponized thing, I'm allowed to have 2 witnesses myself. It works both ways. Oh, no, you can't do that. That's insubordination against your leaders. You say, oh, well, what happened with Paul and Barnabas? Was there an argument? Really? Was that insubordination? How was that dealt with? When Peter was out of line, how was that dealt with? Wasn't he an apostle? Oh, so you can actually counsel governing body people. And because of that argument, that's why the change came out at the annual general meeting with, was it Flegel or Winder a year ago? Because I remember putting that down in writing, and I was told that was an apostate idea. I was told this is apostate. And guess what? Then they announced it on the annual general meeting. It says, oh, by the way, yeah, we can be adjusted. And they adjusted David Splane as a demonstration of that at the annual general meeting. It was a show. It was a display. Oh, by the way, we're getting the research department just to check Brother Splane's comment. They did that publicly to show how humble they were. But it was pseudo humility. When I say pseudo, I mean it was a show.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Am I making sense, or I've lost everybody?
Yes, but I just wanted to ask, so this tribunal, that's just picking the person that's going to go and talk to whoever? That's just to pick the person?
Yeah, well, do you remember that there used to be Bethel elders? Do you remember that they were different to your congregation elders? And then they said, oh, we're eliminating that.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a time, like what Barbara Anderson says about Enochian magic, John Dee, Watchtower rituals, things like that. So these would be elders who were familiar with that, very compartmentalized again. And then, of course, that all fell away. You talk to the elders now about John Dee rituals, they don't know what you're talking about. But yet it was fundamental to like dwelling together in unity, Jacob's ladder. It was kind of like a way of saying, well, let's program the youngsters, tell them about the Samuel experience and working in the temple, and Aaron being called in there, and God speaking through Samuel to Aaron to correct him. And you're going to go to Bethel and you're going to have these kind of experiences. It was a programming. It was a psychological, psycho-spiritual programming system. And you're dwelling together in unity, man. It was kind of like a Catcher in the Rye thing to wake you up. It was psychologically weighted to do that. I mean, you talk about Stargate in SRI in America, right? Well, JW had its own version of that. Remember, they were predicting the future. Who was the oracle? Freddie France, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was the same kind of stuff.
He was called the oracle. And when I was in mainstream Christianity, I did youth group, and I asked the youth, what are we going to call ourselves? And I made it to where they came up with the name. And that's what they named us all, the oracles. Isn't that cool?
Wow.
Yes. I still have this little plastic container, like the size of a shoebox, that I used to put our materials in. Oh, we lost Dave. He maybe have to be back.
Hope I didn't
That
chase him
had
away.
that has stickers
Yeah.
with their names on them. You know, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Dave, go well. Sorry to we'd like you to have a last word there.
Yeah, he'll come back on, and he makes the rounds too. He shows up on all kinds of live places. But yeah, I thought that was really cool when these kids came up with that name, and I'd see him around town. That would be neat too. But yeah, the oracles. It's kind of a. Will you look up the definition of oracle? I had somebody come in my home one day, a friend of a friend,
So,
and he
folks, I'm
called
just using. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
he called me an oracle
Mm.
out of nowhere. So I wrote it down on something, and I still have it on my refrigerator.
Got the definition ready.
Yes.
So this is just slapping it into Google. It says an oracle is a person, agency, or medium believed to be a channel for divine communication, or the wise prophetic advice they provide. So historically, the term also refers to the sacred shrine or temple where these divine revelations were consulted.
Oh, that's fascinating.
It does go on. I mean, we can look it up because it's quite an extensive definition.
Well,
Google.
Whatever you're comfortable reading, I'm fine with.
Okay, so it goes on to say the term spans several specific definitions depending on the context. We start with number one. There's three. So one of three is ancient divination and prophecy. So originally rooted in ancient Greek or Greece and Rome, an oracle was a priest or priestess through whom a deity was believed to speak. So people, including political and military leaders, would consult these figures for predictions or guidance. So the responses were often obscure, allegorical, or open to interpretation, such as the famous oracle of Apollo at Delphi. So who was the oracle in JW?
Freddie Franz. I hear he used to be called Crazy Freddie Franz, but that's just what.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
So
picture him
figurative
being
use.
quite unique and indignant.
Right. Yeah. So you got a figurative usage. That's number two.
Okay.
So it's the wise authority. So in modern language, oracle is commonly used to describe any person who's considered an infallible source of wisdom. Notice the criteria, or someone who possesses
Wow.
authoritative knowledge on a specific subject. So they've got to be infallible. So example, my grandfather is the family's oracle on gardening tips. So when was Freddie Franz right? Well, if you've got mental dissonance, well, he was always right.
Anne Marie tells a story that after 75, Fred Franz it was after even a Gilead thing. He got on the platform and told everybody, you know why Armageddon didn't come? Because you wanted it to. Like he was reprimanding them for wanting it to happen.
Oh, like a manifestation thing. You didn't manifest it correctly. This is your fault.
It was very much it being their fault. That's how he
Yeah.
was. And again, this is like secondhand story. It was a story that Anne Marie told, and she was there.
Yeah. You didn't work hard enough in field service, so God said, well, fine, you guys are going to work a lot harder. So it was a screw you and a middle finger from God himself. That was what it was.
So
because you didn't work hard enough.
Yeah, blame shifting. When it was in actuality something that was his encouragement of. It was very much an expectation, and I was a kid. Like, from the time I could start thinking about what these teachings really are, like from 4 years old till 11 years old, every single meeting, even going door to door fellowship beforehand, was talking about the expectation of the system of things coming to an end. And we called ourselves the society, you know. There was a real expectation, and they didn't straight up say Armageddon's going to happen in 1975, which I think, actually, I think I might have heard it when I was in the Dodger Stadium parking lot. At the gas station, Dodger Stadium is a 76 station. I was there with my dad. He was a mechanic. So basically, what's really think about when you get blamed about things, and this is just something I wanted to share with everybody. If you keep getting blamed about things that you know you're not doing, start asking yourself, might that person that keeps blaming you, might they be actually doing what you're getting blamed for? Ask yourself. So back to, he didn't straight say Armageddon's going to happen in October of 1975 or September of 1975.
Right.
It was a combination of doctrines that, when put together like a puzzle, meant that. One of the doctrines was the end of 6,000 years happens in 1975, and that would be the way they put it was, like, it makes sense that that would be the time Jehovah would choose to take a sabbatical, or, you know, the day off, like a day of rest, and that would be the 1,000-year reign, right? And then these other things, if you see rumors of wars and this, that, and the other, a combination of all these different teachings, when you put them all together, and then them talking about it every single meeting, we had an expectation of this happening.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember calling it the New World Order.
Yes.
Do,
Yes.
and
Oh
then
my
later
God,
on,
yes.
and later on being reprimanded for using that phrase.
Well, I didn't know until I got out in the world. It means something else not good out here.
Yep.
Who knew?
But
Because
they
in my
used to
world,
say New World Order.
that's right. That's what was paradise. That is what we were looking forward to. Those that were looking forward to an earthly kingdom. New
And then it
world order.
became New Order, and then it became New
Mhm.
System.
Yep.
And it
You're
was
right.
like, oh, if you said New World Order, no, that you were crazy.
But what is
So
the
that was
Bible?
that was
It's the
history
New
erasing.
World the New World Translation. That's the Bible
Sure.
that Jehovah's Witnesses use. But
I
have they
just go to the
changed
dollar
that?
bill and I'm reminded.
You did what? I missed that.
I said I just go to, what's it, Eisenhower's $1 bill. Well, I think that's been debunked, but
In
New
God
World
we
Order.
trust.
Yeah.
Welcome. Dan is in the house. Dan, welcome.
Dan and Angela, are you bringing sanity to the show?
This couple I freaking adore, and we have very different beliefs, and I've never got anything but love and support from this couple.
Hi, Dan. Hi, Angela.
So you're there with a blank screen. It looks like your microphone is on, but I'm not hearing anything from you. Hello, Dan. Hello, Angela. You're welcome to start talking because I'm not hearing you. Can you try it again? Okay. And
Okay.
audience, are you guys hearing Dan and Angela? Because I'm not.
Ooh, can I just check? Hey, I'll check on the YouTube. Can I do that just to see if maybe they're coming through?
Sure.
Maybe it's
And then we
our
have
problem.
Natasha that just joined us as well.
Oh, Natasha, hello.
Hello.
I'm
Yeah,
not hearing anybody.
Me either.
And I'm checking on YouTube and I don't hear it there either.
Hello.
There
Hello.
you are. Okay.
Can you
now I
hear me?
Natasha.
I
Yes,
hear
now
you,
I can.
Natasha.
How did you do that? Because we got to tell Dan and Angela. How did you? What? Yeah. What did you do to where we could hear you now?
What is your secret, Natasha?
Yeah. What did you do to where we could hear you now?
What is your secret, Natasha?
I don't know. I'm stupid.
No, you're not.
Not at
What
all.
is your secret, Natasha?
I'm just plain stupid.
Oh,
No,
no.
you're not. Maybe a bit mentally off, but not
I'm
stupid.
just plain stupid.
Got to be a little bit mentally questionable to be a friend of mine. So you qualify.
Natasha, I wonder if you happen to
I
have
can't hear
YouTube.
you on my phone though.
Oh, okay.
So I can't hear what you replied to me.
Okay. Can you hear me? I'm talking to you now. Can you hear me? I'm gonna say,
I have to keep the TV on.
well, at least we're not hearing the echo. So
I have to keep the TV on.
now we are getting the echo. So I need you to turn off YouTube.
I have to keep the TV on. I have to keep the TV on. Okay, I'm trying again. Okay, I'm getting out.
Perfect. You can do that. Yeah.
So a few technical bugs there, but I'm sure we'll work them out.
Yeah. And we're not hearing from Dan and Angela either. So
Dan
Let
and
me
Angela,
encourage-
if you're struggling, send us a message and see if we can guide you through. Just send us a message in the chat, and or it can be private chat or the comments, doesn't matter. Just send us a message and we'll guide you through. It's fine.
and they've joined me before. Both of them have,
Yeah,
So
they're
I know-
used to this.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Tonight's kind of a cool night.
Yeah.
It's
Well-
turning out to be.
Linda James, thank you very much for just being gracious and putting up with it. And by the way, if Diamond Dave does get to hear, yeah, we really enjoy you. I enjoyed hearing from you, Dave. Just, man, I feel crap that you've buzzed off, because I sort of think, gee, did I inhibit you there? I know I was kind of ranting or whatever, but the point I'm trying to make is, yeah, we enjoyed your company. So thanks very much for coming on. Is that all right, Linda James?
Absolutely. And like I said, he visits a lot of different places. Maybe he didn't care for what we were talking about, or maybe it was time for him to hit the market with his wife. Who knows? Okay.
Possible,
Dan and
yeah.
Angela.
But also I want somebody like Diamond Dave, or anybody in the audience for that matter, if there's something that's extremely triggering, let me know, please, or let us know, or let me know, because there is consideration given in this community too,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So you're welcome back, Dan and Angela. It looks like your microphone is on at this end, but it's not showing any kind of like there's usually 3 dots there that will kind of light up a little bit that would even pick up on the sound that I'm stating, and it's not even doing that. So I don't know what's up with that. I'm wondering if you need to go, oh, device not connected. That's what I was just going to suggest. So right now I'm getting something that says device not connected. So if you go into that, like the top of your screen, usually there's 3 dots on top of each other, where it would opened up, and you'll see kind of a menu that would give you the option to connect your camera and connect your microphone. Or if you want to come back in, you could try that in that first place where you first come in, that first room or page before you enter this place here. You might be able to find it better there. What I did notice is that a picture showed up for a minute there. So you're doing
Yeah, I
something
saw
right.
that.
They're doing something right. I can hear them talking. They're probably talking all over each other.
Yeah. Well, sometimes this technology just fails us. I mean, I had that happen on the live stream earlier,
Yeah.
and it feels like getting censored because it's just like every time getting to the juicy bits.
Yeah.
You know. So anyway,
And John said that for them to check their internet, which I didn't even think about. So the next time I see them kind of hanging out here, I'm going to ask them that.
I sort of get the impression that StreamYard's a stable platform.
Most of the time it is, and they keep adding to it improvements, which is really, really good.
Where were
Really,
we,
really
Linda
good.
James?
We were talking about stuff that has been things that we were supposed to receive from the channels of people within this organization that are in higher positions than us, but it ended up causing hardcore cognitive dissonance.
Right.
Which I could explain if I could explain it, what cognitive dissonance might be like is if you have like vertigo and you can't feel settled until your vertigo goes away. So you have these two conflicting belief systems or ideas, and when they're both happening at the same time and you believe both of them at the same time, it's kind of like they're trying to cancel each other out, but instead
Right.
they're canceling you out. Okay.
Oh
Because
yeah.
it's like a team. Again, mind fuckery. It messes with your head, and
Well,
until you allow one to show up louder than the other, or you
right.
receive one rather than the other, your mind can't be like you. That's how you get rid of what I would call like vertigo.
So what's the gratitude? The gratitude is going, well, we see it for what it is. And I believe I can forgive it.
Yes. Forgiveness is very, very helpful. Whether somebody else apologizes or not,
Sure.
if you or I choose to forgive those that have wronged us, it helps us get rid of like a ball and chain that we've been dragging around at our ankle. That's cutting that off. Not because they deserve it or because they came and apologized, but to release us from that ball and chain, which is also a archetype of being. Remember the rope and the elephant with that
Yeah.
stake in the ground? It's like still
Yes.
being attached to them, and you don't want to have to be thinking about them for the rest of
Sure.
your life. You need to set that aside so that you can feel lighter, freer, and move easier.
That's taken me
Yes.
right back to when Diamond Dave first joined the channel.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? That's what we were talking about, the elephant, that very day.
Yeah. So it's kind of like that's what it's kind of holding you back. It's making you not go forward when you could in whatever area. It kind of holds you back. But again, I do not believe within Christianity, you have to forgive. Okay. It's a have to.
Mm.
Okay. But I think when we've been wronged, there's deceived, there's a sense of mourning that we experience.
Right.
And that's, part of the stages of mourning is getting upset, sometimes crying, sometimes just devastation, like the floor drops out from under you. You've been betrayed. That's a terrible place to be in, especially from those that have told you they love you and you trusted them. So going through the stages of mourning is a thing you can do too, especially for somebody or something that was very dear to you. Like I like to mention that when we leave the organization, that is something worth it. It's worthy of being mourned over. Welcome, Dan and Angela. How are you? You can turn on your mic because it looks like it's off. Now it's on. Okay. And I'm not hearing you. This is a bummer. These guys are fun. Natasha, I am not able to forgive my father linking me to the JW pedophile, and I can't forgive the JW pedophile. I forgive everyone else. I'm agnostic. As far as I'm concerned, Natasha, and I'm not speaking for everybody, you don't have to forgive anybody until it becomes your choice. And that's not the way it is today for you.
Linda
And it
James.
never means that if you forgive, it's like saying whatever they did was okay. Yes, Matthew?
Sorry about that. I've done it again.
That's all good.
But I also acknowledge Natasha's words there and the experience. I acknowledge that, and you're quite right, Linda James. Linda James, I'm just going to go off because if my
Sure.
being on here is interfering with it, let's see if we can give Dan and Angela a chance. I'm just going to buzz off, and okay, I'm going to buzz off for a while. And if I can see that they haven't come back, then I'll come back again. How does that sound? All right, eh?
Whatever comes natural, I'm good with it. And
Okay.
now I'm looking at it and it's saying device not connected. And then I see your profile picture and then device. There's Dan. I see the Dan picture. You're almost there. Okay. And I'm really glad that you guys keep trying too, because you guys are awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Now I'm looking at it. It says device not connected. And now I'm seeing the profile. And can you hear me? Edit mic settings. I just checked on your settings for the mic and I have you there. It does look like it's on. Okay. Hello. Hi, Dan and Angela. Okay. Add to stage. Oh, duh. I didn't add you to stage yet. I am so sorry. Can y'all hear me? That's a cool picture of you, Dan. I like it. I like it. Okay. Yes. Keep trying. Keep trying. So tonight we've just been like talking about things like what if this and what if that. What if things are different than how we've been told it is, or even how the Bible says things are. Um, and the reason I'm bringing these things up and I'm saying what if is because this is an example of critically thinking. If this is a belief system you have and you truly believe it, I'm not saying don't still believe what you do just because I'm questioning it. I'm really wanting to encourage you to go, the next step. If it's different, then there might be another step to it. So there's that. And I see you, Dan Clark. Your device is not connected. But and then I see your logo. I see your profile there. And your mic looks like it is unmuted. Not quite there. You know what? I cannot compliment you guys enough for continuing to try. This is very tenacious of you. Both of you, actually. That's very cool. When my kids were little, I used to call meetings medulla gang meetings. And I would do this whenever there was going to be a big change in our lives. Say maybe we were going to move or something that would affect them. And welcome back. Welcome back, Matthew. So I was just saying that I used to do what is called medulla gang meetings when my kids were younger as a way of helping them to critically think past and so that they didn't think they weren't involved in the decision making of what was going to come next. Right? So the reason I called it medulla is because I'm a hairdresser. Well, even in the brain, there's a section called the medulla, and it's the center of the brain. With hair, there's, if you can picture three straws, one slender, and then one a little bit bigger that goes over it, and then another one a little bit bigger that goes over that one. The one in the middle is the medulla.
Huh.
So the center. I would call these little talks a medulla gang meetings so that I would bring up a subject and we can all talk about it. At the stage.
so
Welcome,
great.
Dan. I hear you all.
Can you hear us?
Oh,
I
Dan,
can hear
hello.
you.
We can hear
All right, yay.
Yes.
Angela, hello.
Yes.
Hi, guys.
Hi. What's on your
We-
minds?
We've just been
Have you met?
enjoying the show tonight. We've been just listening in and listened to all
Have you all
the.
met Matthew yet?
No.
I don't think so.
Matthew, this is Dan and Angela. And
Good to be with you, Dan. Good to be with you, Angela.
Hi.
Yeah, you
Me
guys
too,
too.
yeah.
You guys too. Yeah,
I
we've really
consider them
enjoyed the show.
I consider them very dear friends of mine. Like we might talk. Whenever we talk, we just pick up right where we left off.
That's
You know,
right.
doesn't matter
True.
what amount of time has gone by. It's just I love these guys.
I know we just pick up where we left off. No, we've been enjoying the show tonight. I really appreciate the what you guys were saying about the indoctrination process and stuff. And I hate to use this word, but it came to me the other day, and I wanted to run it by you guys. It's a very strong word for what happened to us in our indoctrination process. And the word that came to me was grooming.
Oh yeah,
And
absolutely.
we were groomed by scripture and by Watchtower. And that hit me like a ton of bricks. And I said, what the hell is that? And I thought we were groomed because we were lured in, I mean, I was in it all my life, but we were all groomed in by, Paradise Tomorrow and the new world. And then we were like groomed like a pedophile, like now you better watch out. Now they took us into Old Testament and they told us how angry Jehovah was and you better not leave. And they completely, most people, you know, Rick was talking about it today, why people don't leave. And a lot of them are terrified because Jehovah's angry, Jehovah's jealous, he's the worst kind of human. He's going to seek vengeance for anybody. So I feel like, what was the word I used again? Groomed. I feel like we were
Groomed,
groomed.
yes.
And the next thing you know, we found ourselves in a cage and we're like, holy shit, it's just like a pedophile. Hey, you better not leave. I'll hurt your dad. You better
That's
not do
right.
this. You're going to die. And so we were had a gun to our head. Once we
Mhm.
got in, they put a gun to our head and we were like immobilized, you know?
An archetype kind of gun.
Yes. And so there we were, you know, stuck. And I don't know. I was thinking about it today. You know, my uncle's been talking to me a lot. He's I don't know how many generations he's been in, but he's 80 some years old and he was really working hard to get me back in. And we've had some really, really, you know, good talks, but lately he hasn't said much. I think he's what the witnesses are doing now, this is gonna sound really strange, but they're making up their own prophecies. And I'm talking about the older ones. The older ones don't know what's going on. They're just, I don't know what you guys call it, compartmentalized. They're disassociated because, like you said, Linda, earlier, and you guys were talking about, you're not used to listening to your own voice. You're not listening to trust your own heart. You're not listening to trust your own GPS. And so those faculties, Watchtower told us to shut off. They said, shut them down. Don't listen to your heart. Heart's treacherous and desperate. Don't listen to your mind. Don't think for yourself. That's the devil. And so they've completely immobilized these guys. So my uncle, I feel so sorry for him. So I was kind of like, what's the new prophecy in there? What's going on? And he said, what was it, Ansel? The heat, or not the heat, but the solar clocks or something.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically,
Yeah, it'll come to me.
yeah, so he's saying the world's, if Jehovah don't step in, then the world is going to burn up. And so he says, oh, it's a climate clock. And so I looked everywhere online and I was asking people, is anybody talking about a climate clock? And it's like, no. So he's 80 some years old. So he's trying to justify, you know, why he's been in there. And his father, when he died, who was an elder all his life, my grandpa, he was like, we got screwed. And so they covered
Mm.
it up. The sons all covered it up, and they said, "Oh, Grandpa had a stroke, and he didn't know what he was talking about." But I
Oh,
know a lot
okay.
of witnesses on their deathbed, guys, that say I got fucked. Excuse my language. I mean, they do. Art
Yeah.
Epperson, I remember he looked up and said, "We got screwed. The end didn't come. Now I got to go in the ground until Jehovah decides to rise." I mean, they were pissed, and my grandpa was pissed. And I said, I don't think he was nuts. I think he woke up on his deathbed and said, "Man, it was supposed to come in 75 or before even, you know, but 75 was the big one." But I think my uncle's going through it because he called me the other day and he started sending me pictures of cars and, you know, he paints cars and he was really sad. And I said, "You know, Neil, are you wanting to check out of here? Like, what's going on?" And he says, "My body hurts so bad." And he says, "I'm in so much pain." And he says, "Yeah, I kind of do." And my heart went out to him because I've been in that place where you can't move forward, you can't move backwards, and my heart is just like the watchtowers left these guys hopeless. These guys, like I said, he's got to make up his own. And what I'm seeing happening with the young ones on TikTok is they don't have any depth to them. Like
Mm.
we went on a chat the other day on a TikTok. It was a XJW studio, and there were all these 27-year-olds on there and they were pretty clear-headed, pretty sharp. And so I was like, could you guys listen to an old timer that's been out 20 years and left when he was 40? And they said, yeah. And I said, how the hell are you guys so clear? Like, did you guys go through rehab or anything? And one girl said, yeah, but they're all 27 sharp. And Angela said, Dan, they don't know nothing about what you're talking about. I was talking about the generation prophecy. I was
Yeah.
talking about, they didn't know nothing.
Yep.
And Angela goes, Dan, ask them if they know anything about the And I said, are you guys familiar with the 75 prophecy? No. Are you familiar with the generation? No. And I'm like,
Yeah.
holy. And so they don't have the bullshit we had to come out of there, like don't forsake the gathering of ourselves together, and all this stuff, never miss a meeting, 5 meetings a week, studies, they don't have all that. There's not much holding them in. So I thought they're just like walking away, these young. I said, how old are you guys? They said 26, 27, 25, very sharp, totally filled with knowledge, but they didn't have that depth of indoctrination, if you will, that we had. You guys, have you seen some of that online?
Yes. The generation of today on Reddit sounds nothing like the generation of Ray France, or
Yes.
like they were back at that time that they talked with class. They didn't ever really put down the organization. They would say things that they come to find out, but they didn't talk negatively. They were more of a class act. Today's youth on Reddit, they are cussing away. They are displaying everything that's on there, and
Yeah,
yeah.
it's amazing. And I've got a lot of not really relatives, but people I studied with when I was young that are out. But they are terrified, guys. They are immobilized. And I feel so bad. Like when they say birthday or something, they don't say birthday. They say, it's my son's special day. And I'm like, wow. And that indoctrination that we had when we were in, 80s, 70s, 90s, it was some serious stuff. And I feel so bad for them because so many of my relatives are out, but they're immobilized by fear. They can't move
Oh
at all.
yeah.
And
Yes.
they're not doing holidays, or they don't let anybody know they're doing holidays. Or I talked to someone the other day, I won't tell you who because they didn't want me to mention any names, but they came out to my
Sure.
house. They came out to
Okay.
my house and they were just fresh out. And the lady was scared shitless. The
Oh yeah.
guy was like, hey, they fucked me, they did this to me and it was bad and I'm pissed off because the elders betrayed them. They literally, something happened and one of the elders turned on him and he says, you piece of shit. I can't believe this. Like, you were my friend. And so he went off the edge. And then his wife, he proved some things scripturally, like you guys were talking about earlier. She said something like, well, show me how this is wrong, one of the dates or something in the Bible. And he did. And she left, but the whole time she was here, wasn't she, Angela? She was flipping around her keys. She was moving all around in her chair. And I thought, oh my God, she didn't know she's like PTSD.
Absolutely.
And we're just watching, going, holy shit, I forgot. Because it's been 24
That
years
used
for
to
us.
be us. That used
Yes.
to be us.
I didn't know how to
Yes.
relate to them. They're like, oh, what do you guys believe? I was like, oh, what does it matter? They wanted to know if I was a Christian, if I was this. And I said, let's don't go there. Let's don't go down that road because I said, the truth of it is you guys got to figure out your own shit from here on out. You guys got to, you got to turn over your own rocks. I'm not going to tell you where to go, what to do. I don't think you need to know where I've been and what I'm doing because what I'm doing and you're doing is going to be two different journeys. And they still are looking around a lot in the Bible and different
Good.
things. And my comment earlier that I made on here was it doesn't matter who you talk to about the Bible, they're all experts in their own
Yep.
doctrines. Really. I mean, you go into
Yeah.
Seventh day Adventist, Mormons, the guy was a Mormon. I actually visited a Mormon church. When was it, Angela? A few weeks ago? It was maybe a little longer, but I said, let's go in there and see what they're talking about. And we went into one of the private study groups. And man, you guys, it was heavy duty indoctrination, man. It was
Oh, really?
serious shit. Oh, yeah. And the guy got pissed because I started talking about oneness. And one of the guys, they were all in their white shirts and their little badges, elders. And I told Angela, I don't know if I should go in there. It's because the guys go in one group and the women go in another. And I just wanted to hear. And one of the guys, he kept looking back at me, the one who was going to speak. And he looked a little bit nervous, like I was just in there with jeans. And, I just wanted to talk a little bit about oneness, kind of find out where their head was at.
There's
And
been a few bad situations that have happened over the last year. Like, so they might have had a reason,
Mm,
not personally to you, but like, I don't remember where it was, but some dude in a truck goes and slams it up against the wall at one of their wards.
okay.
that was me.
So
I'm kidding.
no,
I'm kidding.
no, I saw that redneck, and you are not that redneck.
But you
You
know
are
what happened,
definitely
guys?
not.
So I go in there, we start sharing a little bit about oneness, and the guy next to me, he seemed like
Mm,
he was really stressed out. He had his head between his legs, his hands in his hair, and he
yeah.
Oh
goes, I don't
wow.
give a
Okay.
shit. I don't give a shit. If they're good people, I
Uh,
just got back on my mission, and I don't really care, man. If they're good people, they're good people. And I was like, whoa.
okay.
Oh
I
my.
said a few things, and man, this guy that looked like a nice, sweet guy, he
Mm,
gets up there and he starts talking about, covenants and doctrines and the Mormons. We are the Latter Day Saints, the chosen ones, like the witnesses.
okay.
And he walked right up to my face and he pointed his finger because I said something about, I don't know what I said, doing the things Jesus did in greater. Jesus said, the things I do, these in greater you'll do. And so I was talking like this in there. And one guy says, hey, I really like what you're saying. Some guy yelled across the room. And then I said, I said, guys, I said, don't you think some higher power had to clothe you in the womb and put you in the womb and clothe you and breathe life into you? A higher power. We didn't get here ourselves. And I said, I don't know if we had agreed to come here. I don't know what it was, but I said something definitely intended me to be here. Do you guys agree? And so he said yes. And I said, but don't you wonder why God continues to make the Muslim? Don't you wonder why he continues to make the Hindu? Do you wonder why? And I threw this out and I said,
Mm,
if God made me in the womb and knows every hair on my head, which you guys teach, then he made every Muslim in the womb and every, all these people, right? And
yeah.
so I said, so that would lead me to think if a person was born a Muslim, he'd be a Muslim. Of course, born a Christian for the most part, he's a Christian. So I said, God knows all these pathways. So the guy just turns at me and he comes running up to my nose with his finger and he says, something like, not in this life. We're not going to do
Okay.
what Jesus did, and we're not going to be all one in this life, and that's for the next life. That's for us, heaven.
Ooh.
And you want to
Okay.
know what happened, guys? You want to know what happened? A miracle happened. A
Sure.
guy came over from the temple, I don't know
Okay.
if you've seen these special meeting in the temple, emergency meeting, and
Right.
his kid speaks up and he goes, hey, I just came out of an emergency meeting in the temple, and I'm going to tell you what I was going to tell those people in the Mormon church. I was going to say, this is what my intention was when I went in there, that if churches do not change their stance on we're the only ones, where I said, my intention was to say, not a stone will be left upon a stone upon this building, because the light is coming in, the bullshit's going away, and the light is coming in, and no stone will left be on a stone in this church. That's what I planned on saying. This kid comes over and he's all stressed out. He's seeing this conversation going on. This is a pretty big group of people, about 40 people. And the kid goes, I just came out of an emergency meeting. Have you guys seen the temples, these Mormon temples?
Yeah. I have. I have.
They're
Yeah.
like Disney. They're like Walt Disney. Like we've got three of
Yes.
them. They're building one that looks like the Ark of the Covenant. Then they built a second one that looks like it's as big as the Capitol. And they're building a third one. And so this kid came out of an emergency meeting, out of one of these special meetings with the high priest. And you know what that sucker said? He says, we are all one. He said,
Oh.
I swear to God, on my life, he goes, we are, and it was by two witnesses. And the kid next to me, he said, shit, we're all one. The guy across from me, and then the kid comes in for the special temple, didn't he, Enzo? And he goes, he said, the guy says, unless we get this, that we are all one. And the guy just up on the stage just throws his hand down, sat back down. The thing was dismissed, and I swear to God, everyone said, you can come back to our church anytime. We love you. We love what you say. I mean,
Okay.
it's happening, guys. I don't know if you guys believe that.
I,
There's some
I need
kind
Yeah.
to
of light
ask.
coming in
Can
here,
I?
disclosure. Go ahead.
Can I ask you? So you mentioned something and then you got reprimanded and corrected, not in
Yes,
this life. And then someone came out of an emergency meeting with a message that was actually your message. Is that,
exactly.
is that what happened?
Exactly.
Am I hearing that correctly?
You're hearing it right. And I told Angela, I said, we're going to that damn
Wow.
Mormon church this morning. And she said, why? I said, I
Okay.
have no idea. But we're going in
That
there. And
must
then
have
I
been a
looked in
good
the room
time.
and I go, Angela, I may have heard wrong. I might have had one cup of coffee too much, but I don't think I'm supposed to be going in there with all those creeps in there, you know?
Okay.
I mean, I just said it like that, but it's scary as shit because they
Yeah.
had this big step you go up into. And I thought this guy was going to be tame. The guy that was getting up, I thought he was nervous, but when he got on there, he's like, we are the Mormons. We are the true church. And he was saying to the guys, repeat after me. Who are we? What are we? What are we about? And I'm like, holy shit. And I was like, and I just started talking like I always do and
Yeah.
just sharing. But it turned out to be very, very good. And they invited us back. In fact, I met a guy there that made my ring. He was a Mormon. He made
Oh,
me a
right
really
on.
beautiful ring. We finished his kitchen and he says, I can make you a beautiful 2.5 carat stone, beautiful ring and with a saying on it. And I says, yeah, do it. And so he comes up to me, he's in a church and I'm like, who are you? I go, who are you? I have no idea who you are. And he taps my finger with my ring and he goes, I made your damn ring.
Mm, wow.
So we've been having fun. We visit a lot of places too, guys. We go to a lot of different places just to see what's going on, but it's always the same. We get kicked out of churches for free thinking. You know, one
That's what I
church,
do for a
the
hobby.
Seventh Day, we got
I
kicked
kid
out
you not.
because we asked them. We said,
I mean, not a hobby. I shouldn't
yeah,
have
it
said
is.
that.
It's
It,
kind of fun, but we have family that are Seventh Day Adventists. We have,
Right.
these different religions. The Mormons, the uncle is Mormon, and another one is Messianic. So we're invited to these places. But the last time we got kicked out of the Seventh Day Adventists, I said, "Do you guys believe God is Alpha and Omega, Jehovah? Do you believe that's Alpha and Omega?"
Ooh.
And they're like, yeah, he's the beginning and the end. And I said, well, then he knew it was going to fall.
Ooh.
And one
that's a
lady goes,
tough
what the
one.
hell are you talking about? What are you talking about? It's going to fall. And this was a Bible study. We don't ever go to be preached to. We just go to the Bible studies. So
Yes.
we said, well, if God knows the beginning from the end, when he created the earth, he knew it was going to fall. And the lady goes, how dare you say that about my Lord? And I said, no, I'm not saying it. The Bible says he's Alpha and Omega. So if he knows the beginning from the end and knows the end from the beginning, then while he was creating it, he absolutely knew it was going to fall. And so that
Right.
didn't get us kicked out. But what got us kicked out was I said, did Satan lie? And the lady and the pastor got us there, and I said, "Did Satan lie?" And he goes, "Well, what do you mean?" He says, "Well, it said they became like God. If you read 3:26, it says they became like us." Now there was a conversation between, I don't know if it was Jehovah and Jesus or whatever, but there was a conversation, and it said they became like us, knowing good and
Hmm.
evil. And then they said
Yeah.
this. Now here's the bullshit. They said, what do we do now? I mean, God's saying this, right? What do we do now? And they said, well, by God, don't let them get to the tree of life. Put the flaming angels out there with the flaming swords and keep. And I'm like, wait a
That's
minute.
right.
So I said in there, I said, wait a minute. If God says you're dead, the day you're eating
Mm.
of it, you're positively going to die. What the hell does it matter if they get to the tree of life?
Yes.
And I said, there's a mystery in here, guys. I just said there's a mystery. And the pastor wrote and he said, never come back to our church again. He said, don't
Okay.
come back. And he sent an email. And I walked into his office and I said, why? And I said, well, I'd like you to do something for me. And he said, what? I said, how come every time they introduce you, they got to say they're you're a PhD. Every time he went up on platform, they said, no, he's so-and-so is a doctor and he's got a PhD. And I said, what the hell's that got to do with anything? You
Right.
know? And so anyway, we weren't invited back. But
Do you
anyway,
have a PhD?
no,
Okay.
nope. Nope.
Oh,
But I do
wow.
know people who have them, and they said it's the three words that ruin their ego. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
okay.
Because
Yeah.
it becomes everything, and it's just more. To me, it's academia and indoctrination. But anyway, we've been doing that. But you know what we found though? Every religion, if you go into Mormonism, it's covenants and doctrines and prophets. God would never lead us. When you go into their private meetings, like the elders' meetings, it's all about God left us a prophet, right? He left Moses. He left this. Why would he not leave us a prophet? What's the prophet? How do we know as a prophet? There's a testimony. What's a testimony? The Book of Mormons. So they have this tapestry, this ideal that they sell, and Jehovah's Witnesses sell the name Jehovah. Christianity
And
sells Jesus, and they all
remember,
have their tapestry, and they're all experts. Anyway, go ahead, guys.
I was just going to say, and the Watchtower has, something that says that we are a prophet-like organization. That's all.
Yes, yes, yep. They're the faithful and discreet slave, and anything but faithful and true. You know what I mean? Because that's the thing. I went on a, what was it that I go on the other day and I got kicked off? Oh, it was a TikTok with Jehovah's Witnesses, and
Uh,
I
I
and I
need to,
and,
I
and I
need to step away, but I'm listening. But I'll
okay.
be right back. Okay, is that okay with
Kerry,
you, Matthew?
Kerry K says this is great, Dan. So
Oh,
yes,
good.
it is okay with me, Linda James. You just take a step, and I'm just tuning into Dan. Dan, go for it.
Uh-oh.
Carrie K. Carrie K. Say
All
hi.
right, Carrie K. Woo.
So yeah.
Kerry
So
K,
no.
yeah, she's
But we got
enjoying it.
kicked off of TikTok the other day because there was a Jehovah's Witness group, and I went on there very politely, and I said, "Well, I'm an ex Jehovah's Witness. Do you guys care to, have somebody share XJW stuff?" And they said, "Come on." So they hit the little button, and I came on. And they said, "Well, tell us what's going on." And I said, "Well, I've been out for about 20 some years, and it was very quiet." And I said, "But the reason I came out," I said, "You guys know about the prophecy in 75, and all of a
Right.
sudden it was like a hornet's nest. It
Oh,
was like a hornet's nest. I mean, they were like so violent, so angry,
uh,
F you, just like the people sometimes that come on rickshaw." And I was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa." I said, "Guys, I'm just saying, you asked me to give my testimony. You asked
right.
me to share why I got out." So I said, "Here's why I got out." I said, following the 75 prophecy, I was in what they called the generation prophecy, the 70 or 80 years
Yes.
from 1914, that the end was going to come, that generation that saw the beginning of pangs of distress, the food shortages, earthquake, would also see the great tribulation. It's in Matthew 21. And so I said, but that didn't come true. And when I asked a question, and that was it, it was like they could not, their mind can't
Yeah.
comprehend. There was some lady on Rick Show tonight saying, "Oh, I think we should preach to them." Preach to them what? They got to come out when they're ready to come out. The apple
Mm,
falls from the tree when it's ripe. And so she's like wanting to preach. And I wanted to tell her, and I didn't go on there, but I wanted to say, I gave up that when I was a witness. I don't try to sell people on religion and, you got to believe like I do and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? But man, it was so hostile. I couldn't believe it. And so anyway, I don't know. It's the most amazing thing. Their mind cannot hear
mm.
anything other than what they already know. Have you guys experienced that?
Yeah. You see, yeah, I just blown away by the experiences that you're creating. But essentially, it sounds to me like you're doing a good work because you've got a genuine interest in people. That's what I see the motivation is for you going into these things. And you're coming out with some really profound experiences, but it's giving us an idea of you want to talk about the worldwide cult, right? I mean,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Well, when you see your own mother die saying Jehovah's going to kill me, one of my biggest passions, one of the reasons I got on it right away, because I've been an activist, a lot of people don't know, since the late 80s. I was holding up Paradise Books, on
Yeah.
my YouTube channel. And the reason I did it was because I was so sad that my mother didn't get the help she needed for her schizophrenia because psychologists were bad. My
Gee.
dad let himself get overweight, very overweight, huge, huge. I mean, like 500 pounds, and
Okay.
he was waiting for the world to end. He said, in any day, Joe was going to fix Cheryl, which was my mom. And I literally left the truth, and I came back down to Michigan to visit my family, and I wanted to see what they were all like, and they were all insane. Every one of them were insane.
Mm,
From where I'm at now, it was like pure insanity. I went back and I saw my mother laying there in a mental ward in a hospital, and I just cried. And she's got these cataracts on her eyes. You couldn't even see her eyes. It was like a piece of leather, gray leather over her eyes. And I said, "Hey, Mom," and she says, "Who are you?" And I said, you know, she knew who I was, and I said, "I'm Dan, Mom." And she said, "You left Jehovah?" And I said, "No, I didn't. I just left. I left what you call the truth. I don't, you know, follow men anymore, but I've never really left God." And anyway, she started talking to me, and she just said with all the fear that anybody could have, she said, "Jehovah's going to kill me. Jehovah's
Mm.
going to kill me." And I said, "Why, Mom? Why is Jehovah going to kill you?" And she says, "I haven't made the meeting." And I said, "Mom, you had a stroke. Look at your hand. It's curled under. Look at your feet. You can't walk." They carried her around in a gurney.
Mm. Mm.
And the last time I saw her, I just told her, I said, "Mom, you can die. It's okay to die. You're not going to go anywhere bad." And she said, the last I saw my mom, they were hauling her down the hall in uh, like an engine puller. And she was screaming that Jehovah was going to kill her. So my dad died of shame. And so I said, you know what? Here's the way I look at it. We're made in God's image and likeness. God made us here with potentiality. He made us here. I believe we were divinely drawn here or put here to unfold as an aspect of God in a very unique way. Not better, not worse than anybody else, but as a facet of the divinity. And we're
Yeah.
here to unfold it and allow us to unfold. And Watchtower dogma, Watchtower fear, Watchtower use that Bible as a weapon. It was weaponized. You guys have heard all that before, but they weaponized it against the people. They've captured them, and they never escape. So I've had to watch my whole family die. By the way, I've watched my younger brother die. I watched my second brother die, and they're younger than me, in fear and shame and bullshit that they didn't have to do. So I became an activist on the whole scriptural thing, the whole Bible. The reason I don't, the Bible to me now, I feel has cursed more people. I mean, I know people get a lot of encouragement. I don't want to speak for everybody, but it was a curse in my family, and it was a curse in the Jehovah's Witnesses, and it was used in a very ungodly way. I feel there's encouragement in there. There's good scriptures in there.
Mm.
There's a lot
Mm.
of different messages in there, but most of them use them. A lot of them use them for fear, mind control, and I see it over and over and over again. One thing I learned, I got to tell you guys, one thing I learned from leaving the Witnesses, I just got to tell you this. When I left the Witnesses, the biggest thing that ever happened to me was to see the bullshit in other religions. And what I mean by that is, me and Angela almost separated several times. Her dad was a Seventh Day Adventist and just as hateful son of a bitch as the Witnesses. He wanted her ass gone. He wanted her to sing with her and travel around with her. You know, this freaky, weird relationship, if you ask me, of a
Mm.
daughter that a dad that can't let go of her daughter. And he had
Mm.
these plans that she was going to sing together and look at her dad's eyes and sing all this Christian shit. And so he tried to break us up. He tried to
Okay.
tell me that she was not going to come back to me. And I said, "What are you talking about, you dickhead? What do you mean she's not coming back?" "Oh, she's gone. She's not coming back." Angela's on her way back. Her mother did the same thing. Came out of her house, says, "Angela's not coming. I'm sorry, you need to leave." And I said, "Oh, I'm not leaving." And she dropped her glasses down and just says, "You need to move on your way, Angela." And Angela says, "I'm making me food." And
Mm.
anyway, long story short, I call that a blessing because I saw the same kind of shit go on that happened in Watchtower, the same kind of stuff happened in the other religion. It happened in the Seventh Day. It happened
Yes.
in the mess. And I
Yes.
got so turned off. I'm like, I'm sick of religion. I
Yeah.
know people get help there, and I go, God bless you on your journey. Everybody gets
Sure.
to worship how they want. But I'm got to tell you guys something. When I came out of the Witnesses, when I came out, I saw the boxes. I don't know
Mm.
why I saw the
Mm.
boxes. Anything you claim less then you're part of divinity, that you're part of God, that God intended you here, that you would not be here if God's hand wasn't on you. if God's breath wasn't your breath, if your eyes, your thinking, you're not your brain, if you have never been disconnected. So anything that comes in between that now, anything that says you're lesser than, I mean, why would you come into this world and Christianity say you're a piece of shit? You know, why would you tell yourself or your kids you're
Sure.
a piece of shit your whole life? You're a piece of
Mm.
shit. You know, someone had to die for you. Who had to die for me? Oh, Jesus had to. Why? Why do you have to die? Because you're wretched, because of your father. And program that shit into you. And you know, guys, I'm watching some of my family go down that route now, and they're turning just as judgmental on me and Angela. It's Christian religion, and they're being just as awful, just as nasty. We don't get to see their kids, so it was a blessing for me. I mean, as much as I didn't like it, it's a blessing because I see the facade of it all. And what I say now, Matthew, is I say this. I say, why does everybody got to go that don't believe like you? Why does everybody got to be genocided? Witnesses Last Assembly was showing Jesus coming in as a butcher. They had him on a white horse with blood all over this white outfit.
Right.
They said he's got the blood of the whoever on him, and he can't wait to come in and grind him up until the blood comes to the cow's necks. And then I realized that's Christianity too. That
Mm.
all who don't bow a knee to Jesus, well, he's coming in to kill everybody. And when did Jesus turn into a monster? That's what I'll say in the churches now. When did Jesus turn into a monster? Here he was in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, talking about love and loving your enemies. And you got him in Revelation. I said, there must be something wrong with that Bible, something wrong with the
Sure.
Bible. Where the hell did
Sure.
Revelation come from? How did he turn him into a freak? Get the
Mm.
hell out of our church. You don't understand. Okay. I'm just asking, how did he turn into a freak? How did he go from Matthew, Mark, Luke, John? How did he turn into an animal that's got blood on him and can't wait to kill everybody? I said,
Yeah.
you
Oh,
turned him
gosh.
into Jehovah. Yeah, I said, you made him into Jehovah. So that's how I talk when I go into churches. I say, hey, can you just explain it to me? I'm just asking. And so, you know, it's just interesting the responses you get. But anyway, I've talked a lot, guys. Should probably-
Well, I wonder if we shouldn't give you an honorary PhD, and
Right?
you know.
Oh, my
Uh,
goodness.
Funny.
Well,
we love to
look,
share this. We love to share because they're just practical stuff. It's like, I mean, God, if you don't know that, you know, something created.
Dan and Angela, they show up places, and Dan has this gift of ruffling feathers and making waves, and he's
no,
just
but
calling,
I'm
he's just
pretty
asking
confident.
questions.
Well, does it sound crazy that I sit here and I'm getting comfort from this? Actually, look,
Right?
I wouldn't wish for people to get into conflict like this kind of thing and getting thrown out. But I'm sitting there and I'm going, yeah,
Great questions.
You know, you guys started it tonight. You said you were
Yes.
ornery, so I said, hell, I can join in tonight. They said you're
yeah,
ornery. I said, hell yeah, I can come in. Yeah. So we're trying to get in. Can I yell and scream too? Yeah.
You know what? Tonight's the night for it. I'll tell you what.
It is.
And you know what? When there, it's okay to be mad as hell and not want to take it anymore.
It's
But
right.
holding it in, it's just going to eat you up. So there, what's helpful is if you have a way of getting it out, whether
yeah,
it's when you drive down the street, you're just yelling about it, or I used to have a neighbor who had these dishes that were just very cheap dishes. I don't even know where she got them from. Kept them in the garage, and when she had a bad day, she was in that garage dusting
no.
dishes. Yeah, yeah, that was what she did to get.
Well, that's the Greek smash the plates, isn't it? Hey?
I guess so.
Yeah.
You know, but like she had like I think it's good, especially for teenager boys,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
have what is that thing called that hangs and you punch it, you know, because
Punching bag, yeah.
yeah, I think that's kind of helpful.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
Linda, what somebody told me one time, guys, but the very first lady that I met who helped me, and it was interesting that God put me with a bunch of women because I had that narcissism, you know, about women, you know. So God puts me with all these women teachers, and they wanted to kick my ass. You know,
Okay.
they go, if you want to work with me, Dan, and I said, yeah, I want to work with you, Marcia. She goes, well, you got to eat shit. I'm like, what does that mean? She goes, you're going to eat shit if
I
you work
love
with me.
Marcia.
And she was filthy rich, and I said, well, hell, I want to know what she wants to know, so I guess I'll eat shit. but you know, she what did she told me something one day. Oh, the very first thing she told me, this was a weird one, but she showed me
Okay.
this newspaper clip, and it's this kid that was the nicest guy in the neighborhood,
Oh boy.
and he went in after after a while he shot up his whole neighborhood,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah. I
thought, why
knew
the
that
hell
was
is she
coming.
showing me this? And she was telling me, like Linda just said, if you pin this stuff up inside. She said this neighbor took so much shit,
Yeah.
and she called it sowing his sheaves. He was putting these little anger things, he was tucking them away. And then one
Mm,
day he just flew, and they're like, how could this loving, wonderful man, that loves everybody, shoot up his whole neighborhood? So
mm,
she was telling me basically, because I was pretty angry when I got out.
Yeah.
Every church I went into, I wanted to kick the pastor through the floor. I wanted to stand up and start a fight.
Oh, God.
And I
Um,
thought I thought I'd never get out of it, guys. And I even
mm.
had dreams where I was in prison, and I was crying in my sleep so many nights. And I said, I'm going to go too far. I'm going to go too far. And so, anyway, I finally, after 10 years or so, I kind of snapped out of it. But
Yeah.
man, it was the most frightening time of my life. I felt so betrayed by the witnesses, so
Yes.
angry. But like Linda says, and you guys, if you hold it in, you'll become a time bomb. You'll
Yep.
become filled with rage. And so I guess I let it out and, got it out through various means and said what I got to say. But I'm not too forgiving, though, when I don't know, when I visit places, I don't go into to kick over their stuff
Well,
or anything
you're
like
a
that.
success case, Dan, because I mean, as you're talking there, even as you started, I went, "Oh, I know where this is heading," and I had visions of Hamburg, Germany. I mean,
yeah.
we
Wow.
we have to get
Hamburg,
this stuff
Germany.
out. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. And I didn't know. I didn't know. Guys, when we came out, we didn't know we were in PTSD. We didn't know we should
Right.
see psychiatrists. I mean, man, these people are blessed to come out and they get some therapy. To me, as a psychiatrist was, they were dangerous. They were part of Satan's
Hmm.
world. They were
Yeah,
going to miss,
yeah.
we had so much intoxication. We had to go it alone. We had to go cold turkey. And I'm telling you, I got into drinking heavy for years. I hadn't drank now in 20, how many years, Angela? 21 years. I haven't drank a drop.
You got
And don't,
cured.
I
Yeah.
don't, yeah, I got cured. And
Ah,
Oh,
Dan, if you can hear us, please come back. Anyway,
oh.
how long can you listen to Dan and Angela, Linda
Oh,
James?
I've always been able to listen to them for as long as they go,
Well,
usually.
Dan and Angela, if you can hear us, great story. And the more that you get onto shows like this, and you just tell your life, man, I got to tell you, it's so valuable, really. And
And they do. They do. They both get on different channels and or together. They'll talk about just like the latest things that's been coming up for them. They've
yep.
both written books. She has an album, a Christmas album, and she sings Mary Did You Know as well. She has a version of it.
Right. Well, Angela, please, if you don't mind, come and sing us that song.
I
Yeah.
bought the album.
Yeah. Oh, did you buy the album? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I bought her album. And it wasn't too expensive. I got it off of Amazon.
You know what I think? I think
And
that somewhere
she's
along the
done some
line,
live stuff.
yeah, but I actually believe that these testimonies will add up to a dissertation. I actually think
Hmm.
that this is the future right now. What's actually happening in these communities where these testimonies are coming up, this is the future of human civilization. I tell you why, because this is frontline psychology. This is what shaped the mess of society that we're in.
Yes. And you
We're,
notice he said it took me about 10 years, just to get through that one stage. But there
yeah.
was also other things going on that was being grown, you know what I'm saying? That he didn't realize was being grown. There's a
Yeah.
combination of things that can be happening together. But yeah, they're both They're both pretty amazing people.
Yeah, I hope, my hopes are that these YouTube testimonies are going to go into an archive, deep archive, or a deep AI repository, and generations are going to see it. I really, I hope. Or it's going to be passed down. People are going to say, "Do you remember? Do you remember Dan, Angela?" Okay,
Welcome
Dan, you're
back,
back.
Dan.
Welcome back.
And I'm not hearing you, but I am seeing your really good picture. So, and then it's device not connected. This is what happened before.
Well,
And
keep
they're
persevering
gonna,
because they
yeah,
got through before. So, Dan,
absolutely.
Angela, if you hear us here, just please persevere, and we support you. Meanwhile,
you know, when he says he was angry, he was angry, and I've okay.
well, I'm glad he
Stop there.
survived it. Quite frankly, when I said okay, Hamburg, Germany, I'm talking about the disaster that happened at that Kingdom Hall. That one's personal. That one's very,
Yeah.
very personal, because I told you I had a Bible study family that narrowly escaped. The Kobe didn't. And the casualties, it's just tragic. It should never have happened, and we know how it happened. But you
Yeah.
know what? They told congregations, you can't talk about this, which means that there's no lesson learned, there's no healing, there's no
That's right.
prevention of this kind of thing, and you have exactly what they were talking about in Norway with Liv Gabrielson, who's saying, "Oh, do we have to wait for a disaster to happen before the government can act?"
Right.
Well,
Exactly.
that was Hamburg, Germany. And when Hamburg, Germany happened, it was happening in Colorado simultaneously. By the way, we didn't hear about that. That a lot of that news was suppressed. Hamburg, Germany wasn't the only disaster that happened in that year, or in that close time proximity, or that close window.
You need to connect your mic and cam before you can get added on to the stream, Dan. That thing in Germany, I followed it kind of closely. I remember I told you.
Did you? Okay.
I remember I told you the first article I've read, and I never could find it again, said that was the night he was going to be disfellowshipped.
Well,
Yeah.
I've got the family that came here because, I mean, we've got Germans moving up and down from the territories or from the congregations here, and I'm going, well, your connection, your influence, I can see how your stone in the pool has affected the other side of the world. I go, it all adds up. You can't just wash your hands of this, and that's exactly what they did. They came back. We can't talk about this. I go, how? I wanted to shout, "How dare you!"
Mm-hmm. What's interesting is the town or city or whatever. Welcome back, Dan. I'm glad you're here.
Hi, we got kicked off somehow. Angela's here.
Oh.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, you can carry on where you left off, Dan, or
We're
Angela.
just listening to you guys. Yeah, we don't mind listening. You guys are sharing some great points tonight. Yeah, we like and listening too. We'll just fill in. You guys keep going. Sounds great.
Okay, thanks. So we're just listening to Linda James. Linda James, you had some valuable thoughts there, hey?
Thank you. So I can remember the community had a gathering, okay, kind of at a neutral place, and told them this is what we're going to do, and this is where it's going to be at. And the Jehovah's Witnesses, the leadership and everything, were livid. And let me just say, they could not get past themselves. And what was going on was this. They were acting as though it's their group and they're going to make the decisions and they're going to do it how they're going to do it. Okay. But then the time when it came to be a funeral, because I'm going to get back to the other one later. When it came time to be a funeral, it was going to be all kinds of people from all over the, near and far. We're going to show up at this one place. It was going to be paid for everything, by the city or the county or something. They, if you ever get a chance to see it, they set it up in such a way that they got to do theirs separately. The Jehovah's Witnesses had theirs done separately. So if you ever get a chance to see that, it'll show the audience, and you'll see some of this seating is very bare. So it's not as filled up as what it was going to be with, the town or city plus the Jehovah's Witness congregation, but they don't do interfaith anything. So I believe that's how they viewed that and why they said we are going to do it separately. And they used the room that was used earlier, which I'm glad they did. It was something that, the city wanted to do, to hand this location up for them to have this funeral, right? Regarding those that were killed in Hamburg. Now back to the original one I was telling you about. The Jehovah's Witnesses were furious and wrote about it. Like, they don't know our traditions, they don't know our this, they don't know our that. This is what they were missing. This happened to everyone, not just them as Jehovah's Witnesses. This made the news. This happened to the whole town, that all of these people were killed at this Kingdom Hall. The town needed a time to, you might see on TV when something bad happens, a death or whatever, a gathering of people get together, they light their candles, they have a vigil. That's to be of encouragement to each other and to say to one another, I can't believe that happened here, and to take the time out to mourn. You've seen this. This is a common human behavior, which is what happened here. And all of these people from town were showing up to be looking at each other and smiling or crying. They're taking that time, even if they didn't know these Jehovah's Witnesses. It was a really bad, catastrophe that happened to this church. And they all felt the attack. They all felt and mourned over it as well. But the Jehovah's Witness leadership couldn't get past themselves to understand why community needed this, okay? And then it was time for the funeral. They had everything, donated to them as far as the location, which, of course, it could have been done at the Kingdom Hall. But to be honest, I'm glad they didn't have to do it at that Kingdom Hall, because it was at this Kingdom Hall where the catastrophe happened. So just getting back in touch with attending that Kingdom Hall might have, fleshed up some PTSD for those that were there or those that heard about it or whatever. But this guy that did the shooting, he had a book out. He had guns, which JWs are not supposed to have. He used to go to a gun range. The dude at the gun range was leery of him. An elder actually called the police and said, this dude's dangerous. Please go check on him. The guy shows up, or the investigator shows up. He has everything legal. He has his the gun's licensed, and how Jehovah's Witness can be. They're cool as a cucumber when they're questioned.
Sure.
So this guy saw nothing disturbing, nothing to give him the impression he's some kind of flippo, and had to shut the case. So they saw this stuff rising in him, but of course they never thought it would end like this. And I mourn that it did.
I wonder about someone like that coming to South Africa, because I told you what happened with me when I went to the police when one of the young people was attacked in the ministry. And the police took off their pistol, unholstered their pistol, slid it across the table and said, "Get used to that." because you need to go to a firing range and start training up because you got a target on your back. He says you have uncovered something here in your report that is bigger than you realize. It's a syndicate that goes from Cape to Cairo and beyond. He said we're very, very familiar. He says our instructions are to deal with the immediate criminality. He says one person's going to go to prison, but it's a much bigger story.
Wow.
But what does that demonstrate? And if I went off to the gun range and now I get weaponized, but then they say that South Africa is the Wild West. I just go, this is a microcosm of world conditions.
This is the thing, Matthew. If it's okay with your conscience, why not? But let me just say things about the USA. There's places within the center of the United States where they're so country, they've got their gun racks on the back of their F-150
Sure.
Ford trucks with the
Yeah.
rifles still in the rack. That's their lifestyle, okay? And Jehovah's Witnesses do too. Even though it's very much a teaching that we don't own guns, we're not violent people, but it's more about hunting, okay? They don't have that mindset of, I'm going to go rob a bank or hit up the liquor store across, at the corner. That's not how they are. That's the life of that area. They're going to shoot deer. They're going to, get it all packed up. They got food for a year. That's gives them a sense of pride. It takes care of the family. That's part of the lifestyle, so
Sure.
they
Sure.
don't get in trouble for owning guns there. So I'm just saying there are some Jehovah's Witnesses that do
Well.
own guns, and it's up to your conscience, is what I'm saying.
Well, South Africa branch keeps guns,
Okay.
yes, indeed. I remember getting orders from branch committee, go take out the game that was having a genetic problem on the estate. So it was for that purpose.
Okay.
But yeah, look, I mean, I can go into all kinds of stories there. But look, the fact is, the police were just going. You think we're giving you bad advice? You think that we actually you've got a message to come and teach us here? You have no idea of what we. Yeah.
Wow. That must have been.
But I remember that detective warrant officer. He says, Gray, he says, here you are, you're dressed up with your tie, you got your shirt on, you got your slacks on. He says, you're a walking target. We've been observing you for ages. He says, you're a walking target in this area. Says,
For
you
like
just got to
people
get.
to be jumped, for people to like jump you and mug you.
Yeah, Dan, look, I mean, it was a hectic area. But the lousy, crappy thing that happened there is they were going after the young people who were the young baptized minors. That's what they were, children, Dan, children.
Wow.
And then, of course, it created a liability trace to the organization. So I'm going to ask you the question: what do you think the organization did with that congregation, Dan, from your experience? How do you think they dealt with the liability?
Closed it down.
Correct. Yes, doing, and Dan gets the full prize there, 100%.
That's right.
Did you guys ever wonder how we were so? I don't know. I want to know if you guys went through this. I went through this. Did you guys ever did you guys feel like you were on another planet when you were a witness? I mean, like when you went to
Yes.
work, you didn't really know the
Yes.
people. You're like, who are all these freaky people? And who are all these people riding by me in these cars? Did you guys have
Sure.
that same dissociation, weird
yes.
shit? Isn't that a
And
freaky feeling?
and yeah, even during assemblies and kingdom halls, I would disassociate. Yeah.
My God, I remember coming out of the assembly and I would cry like, oh my God, I got to go back into the world. I got to go back to
Mhm.
work. And, then I go back in the work and I just was like, everyone was strangers. I can't work Saturday. I'd lose all my jobs. I can't tell you how many great jobs I lost because I didn't work Saturday because field service but I was so disoriented. And part of what woke me up, guys, was I was at a door one day and two girls came to the door. There's actually three, but there was this beautiful house, and we parked out on the street because we were driving in this old car and it's leaking oil, throwing like a quart of oil everywhere.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
When paradise was
Yeah.
coming, we.
We
But-
called her Bertha.
Yeah, two
That's
things
it. Yeah.
happened, guys. Two things happened. I said, "Don't park the damn car in the driveway." God, it'll lose
Yeah.
a quarter.
Yeah.
I think it was transmission fluid spitting out everywhere. And then we go to the door, and some guy says, "Those are like polyester suits." And I'm like, "What the hell's the difference? They're suits." He goes, "No, they don't breathe. You're in Houston, Texas, dude. It's
Yes.
96 degrees." I'm like, "What are
Dang.
you talking about?" He goes, "Get some worsted wool or some shit, but don't wear my God, don't even wear a coat." But I don't know about you guys. Maybe you guys were
Yeah.
rich or something, but we had
Oh,
clothes
no.
from the Salvation Army. They had stains on the collars,
Yes.
and we want to tell them how wonderful our world is. So we go up to this mansion. You can imagine. I tell the other guys, stay in the car. Me and the wife go up there. This door opens, and it was like so beautiful. I go, holy shit! Look at this house. Like, who are these freaks? Jehovah's going to kill these people. You know how it was. We're going to
Yep.
get to live in their house,
That is
right?
the way. Yeah.
Right. Right.
We
I
never thought
I
that.
never said that, but I know I've heard a
I
lot of
used to
people
say it
have.
all the time,
Oh,
That's
okay.
and I was
amazing.
like, man, but when you think about it, isn't that the craziest thing you'd ever said? You're just so
Yeah.
glad that any day they're going to be gone so you can live in their house. But I went there and I thought, I looked at these people, wonderful lady, big door open, big wood floors, big tables, big windows in the back, and I'm just like going, oh my God. And so here I'm going to tell them everything's going to be destroyed any minute, and we have a better life, and these kids pull out a dollar bill, and the
Oh, no.
the lady goes, okay, kids, give them that money. And these kids held out a dollar bill, and I'm like, holy shit, what is this? And so I take their dollars, and the lady's got a big smile, and the kids go, thank you. And I reach in to give them the magazines, and they go, no, go give them to someone else. We're fine, but you guys have a wonderful day. And that two things happened there. One, I got in the car and I literally threw the magazines. It was
Oh,
automatic, guys. I was starting to wake up. And I said, this is not truth. And my wife was next to me, and I was in the back seat with the presiding overseer. He was in the front seat. And I said, this is shit. This is not good news to these people. Look at these people. What do they want to hear? This is nutty. And who are these wonderful little kids? And I went, Jehovah, you're going to kill these kids? You're going to kill these little girls that don't know anything, that are given? And that was kind of my beginning of my crisis of conscience, other than
mm.
when the generation prophecy was ending. I literally asked my friend, Linda's heard this thing before, but I literally asked my
You're
best
talking
friend.
you're talking about your previous
Yeah,
wife, right? Not Angela?
yeah,
Okay.
yes. And I went in, and my buddy, we would have Jim Beam, we'd put carpet together, we did halls together. And when the generation, I don't know why this happened. I don't know if it happened for you guys like this, but when the generation prophecy came, I don't know why I was a little awake. Maybe it was 75 and I just kind of
Right.
pushed that under the deal. But the generation prophecy, when they said there was new information, I was like pissed. I was like, wait a minute, what do they mean new information? Like, what do you mean Jehovah's got new information? The generation prophecy isn't what we know it. And anyway, so I told my buddy, and he was standing next to another elder, and I said, "Hey, Bill, are we like?" And I wasn't being sarcastic. I wasn't reading any apostate literature. I said, "Are we passing up a prophecy?" I guess I had that carryover from 75. And so anyway, long story short, he looked at me like I was a dead man. He looked at me like, I'm telling you guys, at that time I had a little anger, and I was like, I could have just put a bullet in his head. I was like, dude, what are you looking at me for? You betrayed me. I felt like I was betrayed, like I went up to give my friend a hug and he stabbed me in the stomach.
Yeah.
And I
Oh,
went,
okay.
oh, like, what are you looking at me for? What's this look? And so about, I don't know, it was a couple weeks later, he came up to me and we went over and had a Coltrane pizza over at Giuseppe's. And he
Okay.
says, "Hey, dude, don't ask questions like that." And I said, "Ask questions like what? What are you talking about, Bill?" And he
I
goes, "You
see.
don't ask questions about the the prophecy. And I said, well, Bill, we've been preaching our ass off about Genesis, and this generation will by no means pass. I mean, I'm just asking, are we passing up a prophecy? And he said, look, you're on apostate watch. And he pulls out a piece of paper from Brooklyn, and I'm like, what the hell? And that was a wake up call. It was like, are you shitting me? Like, I can't ask a question to these guys? Like, it was like blew my mind, guys. Why was I awake? Why was I saying that to myself? I was so floored. I was so pissed off. I was like,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
like evil. Like, who are you, man? Who have I been watching? Who have I been following? Who have I been being obedient to? I don't even know these dumbasses in New York. I don't even know these people. And they're running my fucking life. You know, I was like, it was crazy. And
Yeah.
then I met the Marsha lady after, and I didn't know she was a former Jehovah's Witness. She was my mentor. She's the one who
Yes.
She
told me I
was
had to eat shit. But
she was
she's like,
badass.
yeah,
I
she
love
told me if
that
they
woman.
told you to wear brown, would you wear brown? And I said, what the hell are you talking about? Of course I wouldn't wear brown. She goes, no, if the governing body told you to wear brown, would you wear brown? And I'd always go home and think about it. And I go, well, yeah, of course we would, you know?
Yeah.
And she goes, well, what else would they tell you? And she would just ask questions like that. She'd say, what do you think about the hierarchy in there? And I go, what do you mean the hierarchy? There's no hierarchy in Joe's. Well, don't the circuit overseers have, you know, paid transportation and paid place to live? And I said, yeah, but. And she says, well, don't the pioneers get their literature free? But. And I'd always go home and say she's right. And then she's the one who handed me the. No, she was had apostasy literature, but she says, you know those people that do the blood there, you know they're leaving the blood liaison. And I said, how do you know about blood liaison? She goes, well, haven't you seen the internet deals about the blood liaison? I said, no. And so these people were like, well, we were trained by Watchtower Farms and this, that, and this time period, and we left. We were tired of
Right.
watching people die.
Right.
But she's the one who told
Wow.
me about Bulgaria, that they didn't get disfellowshipped over there. So that's
Yeah.
what got me in trouble in the congregation in Loveland. When I went in there, I said, you know, is that true that in Bulgaria you don't get disfellowship, but America you do? And, you know, the flags went off, and then my wife went over the edge, Angelia.
Oh my.
Oh no! Come on.
They will be back.
Well,
Okay.
okay.
Wow.
Linda
Angela-
James, this is
Angelia.
valuable stuff, eh?
Yes. Yes. Wow. And he's married to Angela now. Okay. Device not connected. So they connected it before, and I'm pretty sure you will.
So
Connect it again.
Dan gets the boot for the truth, eh?
Kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me. You went in there,
Yes.
You're
brought
back.
up a few. Dan's back.
Excellent.
So yeah, I got
Excellent.
the boot. Well, my wife went in there all pissed off, and I was like, "Where are you going?" She goes, "Well, I'm going down."
Your previous wife,
Yeah, my
Angelia?
previous wife. Yep, she went down, and she went down to the elders, and she says, "I want to know this and that about blood." And they basically told her, they said, "You've not only taken a bite of the apple, but you've got it in your damn refrigerator." That's what they told her. And she came home and she says, "I'm out of here." And I'm like, "Oh my God, like, where are you going? Like, you can't leave." And honestly, guys, it wasn't more than just a few weeks later she left
Gee.
me. She left
Oh,
me and took my two girls and went to Boise, Idaho, and left me in a house, a really nice house. And I just gave it away. Some guy came down the street and I said, "You want to buy a house at cost? You can have it." And I gave it to him pretty much.
okay.
And but I'm telling you guys, I just came home one day and I thought someone broke into my house. I said, "Man, what the hell? My TV, my computer's gone, but my TV's here, but this is gone." But then I go, "Uh-oh." And I went upstairs and the two beds were gone out of my daughter's.
They
And
cleared out.
she just left. See, there was nothing holding us together. I think she thought I would stay in the truth and stay in the organization. And but she just went back to Boise, went back to poverty, went back to really a different way of life than we had. And I was real surprised. And she took my daughters back, and then I tried to get back to Idaho, and I didn't have a business at the time, so the
Right.
wages were real low, so I couldn't make it. So I had this long distance relationship. Didn't see my kids grow up really, just only few times a year, you know what I mean? And
Mm,
anyway, plus you had all the witness stuff to work through, alcoholism I had to work
right.
through, so much shit, you know?
Do you think that she was helped by the organization regarding you being accused of spiritual endangerment? Like, when she moved, did she start going to the Kingdom Hall where she was at?
Oh, no, I think she planned it. Um,
Okay.
before. I think she thought
Okay.
that was her break. She was going to get out because
Okay.
she here's what happened really. She started going to college. We both kind of came out. She started going to college. She started getting a lot of attention. She was really beautiful. And I saw things online. She was writing to different ones. And anyway, the next
Okay.
thing you know, she was back in Idaho. A week after leaving me, she was already dating and, doing all this. But she never got to live.
She's asking Dan for dating advice.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you laughed. I think I heard
You,
Angela say she gave Dan
yeah, I
dating
got
advice.
that. I caught that.
My back,
Okay.
am I back on?
Okay,
Okay, Dan's
now
back.
you're
So
back.
yeah,
Yes.
it keeps booting me
Did
off.
did it? Let me ask you something. Did Angela just say she, the previous wife, gave you dating advice? Is that true?
Yeah.
Is that what I heard?
She
Okay,
asked me.
thank you,
She
Angela.
asked me for dating advice,
Oh,
and
ask you.
yeah,
Okay.
and the thing what's weird,
Yeah.
guys.
She left him.
Right after she left, and I thought
Oh
she was
man.
so. But you know what, guys? It happens a lot more. I'll just use the word truth. It happens a lot more in the meetings and the truth because we didn't get a normal childhood. We
Right.
didn't
Right.
get to hold girls' hands. I remember one time there was some girl that liked me, some little young girl, and I was about, I was like 17, 18, And my dad
Mhm.
came down the road, literally, he came down the road 60 miles an hour on gravel, and he slid up to my hip, and he
Okay.
grabbed me by the hair and ripped my ass in the car. And
Yeah.
because
Uh,
the girl gave me some kiss on the cheek,
oh
you
Oh,
know,
really?
yeah.
we were so abused in there. We didn't get to grow up
That was a
naturally.
normal Thursday. Yep. A
Damn.
normal Thursday for
Damn.
us.
Normal Thursday, get your ass in here and let's go to the meeting. We were literally drug off the baseball field. We'd all be playing baseball field and we see this
Okay.
Oh
raggedy
my
car come
God.
down the road. And it was my dad. And he'd go, get in the
There's
damn
my dad.
car, boy. We're going to the meeting. And my mom would spit on her face, grab a
Oh,
rag, wipe our face, and we'd sit in the back of the
Oh my
hall.
God, so did my mother too.
Oh, God
This is
almighty.
like, oh, yuck.
So
I
we
said,
get out.
finally, we got to use our own spit. We graduated
Yes,
to
yes.
using our own, okay?
Oh,
Oh my
God. I
goodness.
can't even remember. But there was so much
Wow.
mental illness. When you think about it, guys, even the sexual things in there cause mental illness. Because
yes.
it's like
Yes.
I've said so many times, you guys tell me what your thoughts are. Aren't you a house divided against yourself? I mean, meaning like here you are in adolescence, coming into the bloom of your youth. You're starting to look at women differently. They're looking pretty. Other things are happening in your body. And you're told to pull your eyeballs out if they're making a stumble. Go outside the city and be unclean if you do this to the on the ground.
Mm,
Pummel your body and lead it as a slave. So they create monsters in there.
yes.
And I mean, real monsters. Just
Yep.
not only that, but the narcissism, there's a shitload of mental illness. And guys, when I went back to Michigan, my family was so jacked up. You know what it looked like? It looked like somebody threw a bomb in my house and it blew up and they lived.
Mm,
They were so fucked up. Everybody. I'm
mm.
looking at my mom. Okay, here's what's going on, guys. My brother's an elder. He's stealing my mother blind. He's
Oh,
taking her
really?
money and putting it in his bank. He's throwing her an award. My other brother comes down there, who's the presiding overseer, and he's stealing all their shit. He
Oh,
says, "Where's
really?
that car they have, Danny?" And I said, I don't know. I told him to hide it. I went down there. I said, "Guys, Doug's going to try to steal your car because he wants the cars and he wants the shit that was in grandma's house and he wants this. He's got their wills. He knows what they have." I'm like, how do you people know all this shit? How
Yeah.
do you know that grandma has this and trust funds and money in the wall? And I had no idea. I went down there because I heard my grandpa was dying. My brother had already sold everything. They stole everything. They lied when my brother and I told him to hide the car. He took it out for a ride, and my brother hooked a tow truck up and took it back to Missouri. My presiding overseer brother. And so
Wow.
I walked in the house, and my mother goes, "How dare you, Dan?" And I said, "How dare me what?" And she goes, "How dare you let Doug take our only form of transport?" They were totally mentally ill. I said, "I didn't let Doug take your only form of transportation. I actually told Phil to put your car away because Doug's in town and he's going to take your car." I didn't even know this. Doug's the one who told me we got to go to Michigan. Phil's selling mom's house. We got to help mom, and they were all stealing each other's shit. So
So
I go
what?
to
You were
Wow.
the scapegoat, Dan? Is that?
yeah.
Oh,
It was
jeez.
horrible. These are
Yeah.
witnesses. And so they told my cousins that I got everything. You want to know what I got out of everything, out of all that money, out of all those homes sold? I got a bottle of cologne.
Oh,
They stole
jeez.
all the guns. They stole all this. And I
Sounds
got a
about
box of
right.
pictures. And you know what?
Oh, okay.
And it was horrible. And you know what? The neighbor looked at me, the neighbor that I've known my whole life. He looked at me with such shame. And I said, "Hey, Phil, did I tell you to put that car away? Did I tell you honestly that Doug was coming down and I knew it was your only form of transportation? Did I not tell you to put it away?" And he goes, "Yes." And I'm like, "Why do all these people here hate me?" And that's when I left, guys, and said, "You know what? I got to get a new family. These guys are gone. They're in a whole nother world." And my
Well, you're asking
brothers,
the question to test your own sanity, right?
yes,
Am I right?
yes,
Because you're
yes,
going, no, did I or didn't I? I mean, yeah,
yeah. Angela
yeah.
wanted to say something.
You know what was the blessing? Is this the craziest thing? I don't know why I just keep thinking about it, but what happened is that Dan's work was calling him to go all over the world, and when he would come back from these trips, he would like see the witnesses going door to door and stuff, people that he knew, and he'd be like, "Oh my God, we look like we're
Oh,
nuts. We
yeah.
absolutely look at those." And then even his own clothes he had been wearing before he got this job where the polyester, the sleeves are too long,
Yes.
you know what I mean, and the hot summer, and it just looks ridiculous. And so he's thinking, this is crazy. We look like this. This is so bad. But so here you are out there in the field, out in Spain or wherever you are in the world, and you're feeling guilty as all hell because you're supposed to be going door to door, and you're having all these guilty consciences and all these things going on with your body because you can't have sex with your wife, so you're struggling in the hotel room and all this kind of shit going on. And anyway, I thought, you know what, all that horrible guilt, but what God was trying to do was to get Dan away enough and
Yes.
often enough that he could
Yep.
see the reality of what was really going on here. But yet to get there you have to experience a lot of guilt and a lot of fear because you're not doing what they expect you to be doing. But the blessing was that he couldn't be doing what he was supposed to be doing because he had to work. And of
Can
course,
I
you got
ask,
chastised
can
for that.
I,
But
can I
the
ask a
blessing,
question?
yeah.
So Dan, were you missing meetings?
Yeah, I was out on the road.
That's it. Okay.
So what
This
happened
is
was,
why,
yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Angela. This is why they tell you if you go on vacation, you find that Kingdom Hall and go to it.
I you
Okay.
know
You interrupted the maintenance
Yeah.
of
You-
of undue influence. I'm
you know
Dan,
sorry.
what
you had a
happened?
close shave, eh? You had so many close shaves. So
Let it.
somewhere you had extra help. You
I
really
Yeah.
know.
did.
I know
Well,
you want to talk, Dan, but I want to hear the rest of it. What Angela was saying.
oh yeah,
Is that okay
yeah,
with you,
yeah,
Angela?
yeah. Go ahead, Angela.
Yeah, I don't think I was gonna say it anymore, just simply that I see God's hand in it because if he hadn't been able to step away as often as he did, he just never would have got out of there. I really don't think. It was just like the beginning of causing him to. Okay, so here's another thing. So he's out there, right? And he's working with these really great people and meeting great people and seeing people live
Mm,
a completely
mm,
different life, and they look healthy and they were wealthy and they're he's in this fancy buildings and law firms that are high end, and just seeing a completely different life, and then coming
mm,
back and seeing the poverty and the stupid dress code that they had,
Crashed, yeah.
and just the
right.
contrast was unreal, right? The money was unreal, and then coming back and seeing the jealousy that all the and it just makes you start to get a bad taste in your mouth. But my point is that God is orchestrating all this so that he could finally eventually see the reality, and it's all these little things that God did to cause him to see differently, and to see people differently, to see the people he was working with day in and day out, not as It's like, oh my God, you're the world. You know what I mean? No,
Yeah.
they were brothers. They were family. They worked together day in and day out. They were a team. I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, and
Yeah.
then you can't,
When the world starts looking pretty good, like normal, wholesome people that actually have ethics and morals and make
Yes.
choices
yeah,
because of that, you see this and it cognitive dissonance. Wait a minute.
yes,
These are
yes,
supposed to be miserable people
right,
who,
and
yes, they might look happy, but they're really not, is
right.
what we were indoctrinated with. Yeah. So
And then they trusted Dan out there in the field, and they gave him, made sure he had the finest this and the finest that, the finest,
Right.
car to rent, the finest place to stay at. You eat out wherever you want to eat out. I mean, they were generous, and the witnesses weren't generous. They want your every dime, your every dollar, and I don't know.
right.
It just the contrast was unreal, and I just think, when if anybody in the witnesses experience this horrible guilt because they can't because
Mhm.
they have to do something else, the truth is it's a blessing in disguise. They just don't know it yet. You know what I mean? And there's reasons that they're being stopped, and
Yep.
I just know it's because God knew Dan had a good heart. He always wanted to be the really good witness, with really integral and really honest. And it just, but anyway, he was a good guy. And I think God's like, okay, we're gonna change it up. We're gonna show you the truth. And it just goes a roundabout way that you wouldn't expect. So anyway,
Thank you,
that's it.
Angela. Thank you.
Well said.
Yeah, so she was right. I came home one day and this company treated me really good because it was like very high end work we were doing. Like these jobs were like $4 million. And so when I went out, I had to close them. I had to make sure that everything was perfect or they wouldn't sign off. So I closed several jobs to them. So they started treating me real good. They'd let me rent Lincoln Town cars. And when I came home, sometimes I'd have a limousine. And so one day I was coming home in a limousine and I looked over to the left and I saw this van and I said, what the, fuck is that,
Mm, mm, mm.
And it was a bunch of witnesses. And I said, "Oh God, that's Lee." Yeah, I said, "Oh shit, he's
They
not."
bought the correct car.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
I was like, "I don't know them. Keep going."
It's
And anyway, long story short, because I've been out
Instead
of
of the
town. Remember,
Trans Am.
a
I was out
signature
of
Sorry,
town.
Dan,
vehicle.
I'm stepping all over you.
It's
God.
okay. I was out of town 2 months, and you know what happened? I
Mm.
said, "No, no, Lee, don't fuck with the dogs. Don't
Oh
play with
no.
the dogs in the door." This pit bull grabbed a hold of his ass. I'm watching this from my Lincoln, and I'm going,
Oh
Oh
"These
no.
fuckers are
no.
nuts." This dog's about ripping him to pieces, and he's like, he came right to the screen door, and Lee always thought every dog loved him. You know the brothers.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I thought, what am I doing? These people are nuts. And I said,
Crazy.
that's me. I said to myself, that's me. But I was so out of town so long, like Angela said, it was a month at a time. And I
That's what
I
it,
come
that
back and I
was
thought,
a
go ahead,
big
go
part
ahead.
of it. That was a big
Yes.
part of it.
Yep, it
Yes.
was. It was. And I was in the Ritz Carltons. I was in law firms, Fulbright and Jaworski law firms. That's the law firm who prosecuted Nixon. I was in Spain for
Wow.
5 months. They
Mm.
told me take a month off when you're over there, just take a month on us. And it was one of those kind of companies. So I didn't, it was almost like when I came back to the meeting, there was all these jealous brothers and you need to get rid of that job. You have to work, and they hated me and they were turning me in
Gee.
for different
Yeah.
it was, but like Angela said, it was a blessing because I had enough separation where I thought, man, you go out of town. When we worked on Bill Gates' house, these guys gave us their credit cards and says, go anywhere in town you want. We were in New York City and we were working on his model, and his model was like $500,000. And they were like, here's our credit cards, here's this, go out on the city, anywhere you want to eat, all the tips are included, buy whatever you want. It was one of those kind of companies. It was anybody who was somebody we did work for, these big jobs. But I
Yeah.
didn't recognize that we were in such poverty until I came,
Hmm.
until I experienced some of that world when you're down in Wall Street and
Yep.
down in Chicago and seeing all the attorneys. And
Yeah, and then you know what else is weird? What's
Hmm.
super, super weird to me, that woman that Dan was telling you just a bit ago that she told me
Marsha.
Yes, Marsha, he's gonna have to eat shit and all that. Okay, so after we get married, me and Dan, well, she's jealous as all heck. And she just tried to make me look like a crazy person to Dan, so he dumped me. But it ends up that she was a witness. She'd been a witness. But she pretended like she was just well aware of the witnesses, and she seems to always end up helping them, and just really playing dumb. And then but
Mm.
she admitted to me that she had been a witness, like, oh my God, you were an apostate, and Dan didn't even know it. But that's why she knew so much, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Women, you
Yeah.
women are tricky. You
Let
women
me,
are
I
tricky.
have a secret to tell you. I live right
Uh-oh.
next door. I live right next door to an inactive Jehovah's Witness.
Oh,
And he
right.
don't know I'm even doing this podcast. So let's
Whoa.
Oh
not tell him.
God, you women are sneaky. I'll tell you what.
Hopefully
Small
you're gonna have
world.
hopefully you're gonna have a
Yes.
baby monitor so they can monitor what you're doing over there.
He works nights, so I'm good. He's
Okay.
up all night.
Linda's
But
got all her bases covered.
yes, I do. You think if I told him I was an apostate, he would move out right away.
Is it?
Okay.
Okay.
And he never goes. But I remember the night of the memorial, he was in his
Oh,
car and I knew he was hitting the memorial. I knew it. But he's inactive.
Linda
Wow.
James. Excuse me. I want to just press pause for a moment. Why did you get in
Sure.
trouble for smiling on the remembrance at nice and 14?
I was kind of hoping to, slip
If
by on that. Okay, so
okay, if I put you on the spot, sorry, I retract.
yeah. Yeah, let me
Okay.
pass on that. Let me pass
Okay.
on that.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay,
Now
we've
I'm
got
gonna
to
have
put a pin. Over to you, Dad.
I wouldn't mind just talking about it with a few friends.
Okay.
It's not public, you know what I'm saying?
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Apologies. Okay.
I'm gonna end the show in about 10 minutes, and
Okay.
if y'all stick around after the ending, I won't be recording and I could share it then. That's what I could do. Because I
Well,
don't care to share it publicly.
okay.
Yeah,
Well, we've had a good show.
I think so
Yeah,
too.
guys, it's been fun.
It is so good to hear your voices. And
We enjoyed
Jamar's,
you guys. It's been too long.
Hey, Linda,
it
we,
has.
we have a new TikTok channel. Dan changed the Life After Religion TikTok channel to Your Wake Up Call.
Oh,
And so he's been doing a buttload of work on there. And
Your wake up call.
Your Wake Up Call. Yeah. So it's kind of like we just felt like we didn't want to keep on rehashing, and here we are tonight doing it too. But we don't want to keep rehashing all the past. We want to kind of start talking more about building your life after after you
right.
get out. And same with my religion too, because you guys all know I was Worldwide Church of God. Yeah, I know
Right.
Linda does, but we just at this you get to this point where you just don't want to talk about the past and rehashing anymore. And I know
Right.
pretty much anybody starts to feel like that. So it's like, now what? And so we're trying to build people up to better their lives and move forward and not stay stuck. So that's
Yes.
what we've been up to. And then I started a channel, Linda, too, and you guys, and it's called A Woman's Voice. And so
Oh,
I'm trying to
nice.
help women with the codependency and the no, I don't know, whatever it is, narcissism or boundaries or whatever that they're struggling with so that they can get on with their life and not live the abused life that you tend to live when you don't have your voice. So, anyway, that's been interesting.
And these
What
channels have went
What's
big.
Dan's TikTok? Sorry, just to just get that while we can. What's your
It's called Your Wake Up Call,
Oh, your
Okay,
wake
thank you.
call.
and it ended up having like I had a viral video that hit almost 500,000. And then I had just, we have videos that hit 22,000 views. The channel's got 22,000 followers, and I don't know if it's got a million likes on it, but people want to hear, that stuff. They want to hear how they can transform their life, how they can manifest things, how they can manifest a new life, a new business, a new career, a new religion. So we've been doing that, and man, I'll tell you what, it's exploding. It's literally in it, Angela.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Okay, well, thanks for that.
Okay.
I've just put that in the chat, Linda James, a woman's voice
Thank
for
you.
Angela and Dan. TikTok, your wake up call, and you've got 500,000 views. That's pretty good going.
Yeah, and that one, and it's got like 22,000 followers. It went from 3,000 when it was Life After Religion, and then when I turned it to your wake up call, and I started talking about things I like talking about, it went to 22,000
Mm,
some followers, 22,700, which is good. I mean,
yeah.
and I like working in that, and a lot of people want help, and I have free courses on there and all kinds of stuff. I was doing a little bit of coaching and just having fun with it, just really having some good fun. And I've enjoyed the show tonight, guys. I think you
I
guys
am
are a
so
lot of fun.
glad.
You guys are very intellectual. It's nice to talk to people, like you guys that aren't all heated like I used to be.
Is that guy still on there that was talking about the Jewish stuff? Because you got he knows that I was Jehovah's Witness Jewish combined, right? So I think that's kind of fun when he's talking about some of that rabbinical kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, are you guys still on here with Vern, or did you do your own show?
Yeah, Vern, I'm still on here with Vern, and they are doing something this summer. So they're kind
Are,
of
are they off
not,
here now? I haven't seen them in a while, or
they're
maybe I'm not
like
getting notifications.
they're taking a break. They're like somewhere being a forest ranger or something. I'm not real clear.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to turn you on to somebody on TikTok that lets people join, and she goes by Summer Rain, and it's not rain as in water falling from the sky, but rain as raining from heaven, positionally raining.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Yes.
Yes. Summer Rain.
Summer Rain. She's got a style that she makes space for people, and Carrie Kay shows
Yeah.
up there too. Okay.
Yes, we went on hers a couple times. She has a tea talks or something like.
She shows up on that
Yes.
some brain.
Yep.
Summer Rain. Yes. Okay. That is a very, I find it enjoy.
Okay.
Yes. And she's like this, beautiful, exotic Black woman that looks like she's probably 26, but she's probably older than that. But I love her
Yes.
channel. Love her channel. Hi,
Yeah,
Natasha.
there's XJW Lounge too, or XJW Lounge. And those are younger people, but they love the older people. They love to hear some wisdom, like, you know what I mean, where you've been, where you've gone. They're just young, they're just out. But I went on there thinking maybe they wouldn't have me on, but they've had us like they liked our show. I mean, we had a really some good input
Yeah,
for them. And
and they're not stuck. They're not like stuck. Oh no! Look. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
I'm still hearing you.
Okay, all right, good. So they're not stuck like so many Jehovah's Witnesses when they get out there, have so many hangups and so bad at PTSD and all that.
yeah,
They're just really, I don't know,
Nice.
free
Together.
quickly and together. They're really together, super sharp, discerning. They know how to get people off that are no good. I mean, these gals are sharp.
yeah, and they said we're going to be friends. We're going to be friends. Well, and they were just young, and you just want to help them. You know what I mean, guys.
Sure. Sure.
I joined a I guess a platform thing on TikTok the other day, and I mentioned about women having 10% less brain mass.
Oh.
They never heard of such a thing. I'm like, brother heard, and they're like blank face. I'm like, oh, okay. That was about 20 years ago, and I'm probably looking at a 28-year-old or maybe a 38-year-old, but like I could tell I'm talking like I'm an old lady, which I am, but I didn't know it was going to be.
Yeah. The real Bible students are right here,
That's right.
And these guys are too, but I didn't realize I was talking, baby boomer stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
Lost Natasha.
Us women probably have 10% more brain power than the men, actually.
You know,
Women
they gave
rising.
that talk. They gave that talk too. That for us to never up. You know, I forget how he put it. It was Brother Let who talked about this. That
Oh,
we would
Right.
never upstage our men or something like that.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Is that what he did?
Yeah. You know,
Wow.
if you knew you're smarter and if you knew that, yeah, you don't do that. They even had a little play. It's not a play, but a little video about a couple that got together, and she mentioned actually it's this, that, and the other at the home Bible
Wow.
study, and then she got corrected by him later, which I'm
Ooh.
glad she did. I'm glad he did this not in front of the kids because the video of that really beautiful Asian couple,
Right.
and it was called The Wife of Lot. The husband would reprimand her in front of the kids,
ugh,
Oh,
and they'd just be
Oh,
standing there looking at them because they're, you know, I wouldn't say fighting, but
wow.
the husband would be like, "But we have enough," and they were pissed off at her because she was going to um, learn
Incredible.
to be a real estate agent, and it was this whole think of the wife of Lot. So
Mm.
she supposedly, you know, because she wanted to be a real estate agent, it was as though she was being somebody who's going to be turned into a statue of salt, right? Like looking back, you can't serve two masters. But this is the thing. Proverbs 31. This
yes.
woman, hello, her children raised up early and praised her. Her husband was at the gates, which implies he might be involved in law or something with the city prominent. He was proud of her. She owned her own business. If she saw some land she wanted, she bought it.
Bought it.
She had things that would be sent in, quality things. Hi, Natasha. Quality things. She was selling things, purples, like quality stuff.
That's right.
And she was considered an amazing woman. Everything pretty much that the org tells us not to do, this Proverbs 31 woman did. But let me
And she made
also
her husband
add,
wealthy. She made
yes,
her
she
husband
did.
wealthy.
Yes, she
So
did.
that's pretty
This
smart.
was an example. This woman never lived. It was somebody talking about what the perfect wife would be.
Oh,
So
really?
we don't get this message today, like
No.
even in mainstream Christianity, okay? Today, it's very different. Hi, Natasha. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. What's
Oh,
on your mind?
you can hear me. It's nice.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
can hear you too now.
You're coming through clear, Natasha. Good to
Oh,
be with you.
thanks. Thanks, Matthew. I'm glad to see Dan and Angela tonight.
Oh, thank you.
thank you.
I really love you guys. Every
Oh,
time I hear, yeah, there's something. Yeah, really nice.
Hey, I forgot to ask. Jamar's asked, where are you guys living now? Have you settled down or are you still like,
yeah, we bought a home in Nampa, Idaho, and
okay,
it's a gated community, and it has has a decent number
We don't
of
like it.
people, but a whole lot of elderly people, and
we don't like it?
they're dying like crazy. And
No.
I don't like the
Okay.
HOA. I don't
We
like
got
the
HOAs
politics.
and people and
I
politics and
already don't like
beautiful
it.
homes. Everything's manicured perfectly. But every time you go to sell something or somebody comes over, they're like, "Oh, I can't get in the gate," and you're like, "Oh shit," and you either got to go out or tell them go to this other gate because there's four gates, and it's
Okay.
just a pain in the
And
ass.
you can't have any
Oh
privacy
my.
because it doesn't matter if you go out in the backyard or if you go out in the front yard, there's somebody there to say, "Oh, hi, how you doing?" And then they want to talk for an hour.
Hours.
And
Oh.
I just don't want to do
You
it.
And
mean
it's
like Jehovah's Witness?
yeah, and just
We're just
competition and
sharing with the neighbors a scripture
Yeah.
and it goes from there. Oh my God, I need to shut up. Oh my God,
but
that's hilarious. I
so
mean,
we're
it's not
here.
hilarious. It's not hilarious that you don't like where you're at. I'm sorry.
Well,
Yeah.
we're here, but we're not settled. But we are. I mean, it's a
Okay.
beautiful home. We just fixed it up. We put things in it, granite. We got it the way we want it, and carpet, but we're just like like anything. It's just not quite what we're looking for.
No.
And so
Okay.
anyway, we're just
It's beautiful, but you know.
it's beautiful, but and it's like I said, you drive in, everything's like every yard looks like a picture, with flowers and shit, and
Right.
it's like, and that's the other thing, we've been just putting flowers in, gravel, tons of gravel, sprinkler systems, fixing, repairing sprinklers, and hot water heater, like maintenance house.
Wow.
We might even rent after this. We might just say, hey,
Yeah, I
you
was
know,
gonna say,
just keep it
sounds
simple.
like a good stepping stone. Yeah.
Thank you. It's a good sign.
And I
I'm
think,
just asking because sorry, I'm just asking because I am in British Columbia, Canada.
Mm.
Okay.
So it's really close to my place, actually, because I
Yeah.
live by the bottom of the mountains on British Columbia side.
Mm.
So you're down by like Washington, Anacortes, and that, right?
No, I'm in Revelstoke,
Okay.
bottom of the Rockies.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay.
Somewhere in the middle.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, we're close to Vancouver.
Oh,
mm.
okay. I thought that you were closer to me because by Vancouver it's Washington State,
Yeah, we're in Boise, so
Idaho.
we're
Idaho. So you are
northwest.
closer to me than if you were in Washington State.
Ooh,
Oh,
that's
cool.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll have to
So
come see you.
yeah, if you go for holidays or ride or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because
awesome.
it's only like 500, 480 miles from here to, British Columbia. What is it called? Vancouver. So we're
Yeah.
not far from there.
No.
But I'm in Revelstoke.
Okay. All right. I'll have to look that up. Irish stroke.
Revelstoke.
Everstoke.
Irish Stoke. Okay. Okay.
REVE
Oh, ever.
LSTOKE. Revelstoke.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Angela's putting it in her phone. Yeah. We'd love to come see you. We like to visit people.
Yeah, I think that um Linda, can you give them my phone number?
you and I have always talked over Messenger.
Yeah.
So
Or you can
I'm
hook
not,
up Messenger,
sure.
Linda, or whatever.
Our email address.
We can give you.
Prodigal Journey.
Yeah.
Right.
Our email is myprodigaljourney@gmail.com. Just like prodigal journey, my and then prodigal,
I'm gonna try.
PRO.
I'm really not good at that.
Okay.
That's why
Okay.
I ask if if
I don't
Linda
think we've talked, I don't
could
think
give
we've
it.
talked over the phone directly. I think we've used
Yeah.
Messenger.
Yeah.
Yeah, Messenger
Messenger.
is okay. Yeah, you give
Okay,
them my Messenger. Yeah,
Okay. Sounds good. We'll friend each
that
other
I
and
can
then we can
do.
talk.
you
Okay.
we are closer than you think.
Okay. Okay. That
Yeah,
sounds good. Absolutely. That'd be a lot of fun.
yeah.
That'd be a lot of fun.
There's bears in my town. Lots of bears.
Oh, bells. Lots of bells in our town.
Bears. No bears. Like
BEARS. Bears.
Bears or bands?
BEARS. Yeah.
Oh, bears. Yeah, bears. Wow. My God. Wow.
But
That
there's
would be cool.
never any accident. They're super nice. don't don't try to fight with them, but they're nice.
Oh, that's cool.
Wow.
Is that a German accent I hear there?
Is that German accent?
No, Belgium.
Belgium.
Yeah.
Wow. That's really cool.
That's really cool.
Wow. Yeah, we're starting to do a little bit with YouTube again. We made our first YouTube video tonight in a year and a half, guys.
And a year.
Wow.
Oh. Jeez.
That's how long we took our little vacation.
I didn't know it was that long.
Man.
I know. We've been running around for a long time. We thought we found our place. And so I don't know. We might be here another couple months. And then I don't know where we're going to be, where we're going to live. We might go down and bug Linda for a while too, down there in
That would
LA.
be so awesome. That
Yeah,
would
we
be
got to
really
see you. We got
awesome.
to come see you, Linda. We've been wanting to. You're not that far. When we get to Vegas, you're only like what 375 miles to LA to Vegas. Not even that. I don't think. I think it might be 250. Yeah, we might rent in Tucson or something. You know, home ownership is just at our age, guys. I don't want to sound old, but at our age, you don't want to be doing a bunch of repairs and stuff. We shut down our business. We're not doing our business, so your money's just going, going, going. Everything,
Yeah.
anything can go wrong on a house. You need a roof, 10,000, 15,000. You need paint, 4 or 5,000. You need our sprinklers last week were 1,600. Water heater, 1,800.
Wow.
Granite, 3,500. It just bam, bam,
Hectic.
bam
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
so we're too old for that shit. We just want to get simple and get really simple, but we do have big plans. We're trying to find a movie producer now. We got a really incredible movie, the script all done.
Hmm.
It was a 7 series, what was it called? It's called a series Bible, which is just like a script, but it was 7 series. We thought it was for Netflix and stuff, but we talked to a Hollywood producer the other day. Her name was Susan Cooper, and she got an Academy Award for The Vow. And she said it's almost impossible to get into um, a series with them now. They can't keep the actors going week after week. It They don't have the camera people. It's just so many different things against you. So we're going to make our movie in small clips.
Right.
One of the main things we're doing, if you guys got a second, I could tell you one scene. Do you want to hear one scene?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do.
Please.
I
It's
do.
it's it's the blood scene, and basically what's happening, and it's about oneness. But a boy gets rushed into the hospital. A guy gets separated from wife, and it's going to go back and forth between the Kingdom Hall, signing the blood cards, and it's going to be so it's a blood signing day where we're getting our cards signed by the two elders, and I'm in line and I'm not thinking much about it, and I'm sticking my card in my pocket, and other people are traumatic in line going, I don't know if I can do this, and this is crazy, and ladies looking down at their kids, and husbands grabbing their wife's shoulders and saying, bitch, like get up there and sign, and squeezing their shoulders and making them do it. And then it goes back to the hospital. There's a boy dying and the elders and this guy's in there going, Jehovah says this. I don't know if I can do this. And he's having that crisis of conscience. So
Right.
an Indian doctor, we got it set up where an Indian doctor comes in and says, Mr. So and so, your son is going to die if you don't have this blood transfusion. And he goes, it's against our religion, it's against our, thing, and Jehovah this, and I don't know, I forget what all the scenes were. It's a beautiful scene, but this is going to kick ass, guys. So it goes back to the Kingdom Hall, and they show the traumata. I think even one lady runs out and says she can't do it, and but then it goes back to the hospital, and this African brother comes in. I wanted there to be an Indian, a black brother. This guy calls his wife, and he says, honey, this boy is going to die if he don't get blood. And his wife says, honey, you took a Hippocratic oath to save lives, not let somebody die. And so the African goes up to the guy and says, in our country, we don't have this equipment. And here we have the equipment, and you let your son die. And he says, and the guy goes, blood is sacred. And he goes, yes, and so is human life. So the guy, so the guy does this, guys. This is going to blow your mind. The black guy goes, his wife goes, you do whatever you got to do to save that boy's life. So the black guy jabs an IV in his arm, and the boy's already flatlined. The guy jabs a knife, jabs a needle into his arm, and he gives the kid his own blood and saves his life. And the witness
Wow.
wakes up. The witness wakes up. The blood liaison are outside the door, keeping the wife from coming in. They're divorced, and they said, you don't have any rights here. You don't have any say so here. You don't have any medical rights. And she's trying to beat it in. And then the guy wakes up and he goes, get the hell away from the door and let my wife come in here. And it's like, you are going to kill these people. And, and the
Oh
kid
boy.
lives, and it's this great ending, but, and they thank him, and there's this big embrace. And anyway, that's one of the scenes. So we're going to have that one made first.
Wow.
and then there's a whole movie wrapped around it. And anyway, but that's a major scene right there,
Yeah.
which was
Blood is sacred, but so is human life. That's going to stay with me.
oh man, thanks, Matthew. Yeah, it's big. It's a big scene, and to see this guy give his life, and it says something in it about the black guy says, he says something like, he goes, "You risk everything," and the black guy says, "Yeah, something like, so did I." It was yeah. The father says, "You risk everything.
Mm.
Why would you do that?" And it's all about you know, we're all one, we're all connected. And he says, "My blood is your blood. We have the same blood. God put the blood in us. We all." It was a whole different thing on it. But the thing about it is the guy risked his career to save the guy's life.
Yeah.
He says, "I don't care," and his wife says, "You saved that life. It was a good doctor, you know." So anyway, that's one of the scenes. What do you think? You think it'll be good, powerful?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So looking forward to the next scene.
I know. There's so
You
many of them.
you are talking about my best friend from. She was a worldly girl. We were 8 years old when we met at school. I was not able to talk to her, but we talked a lot. And I learned that like when she came here in British Columbia from Belgium to see me when we turned 50 together. We are 2 weeks apart. And her her uncle, the brother of her father, was a missionary in Africa, a JW missionary in Africa, and he got a disease. I don't remember the name. If I text her, she's gonna tell me what's the name of the disease. I always forget. But her father, who's never a JW, went to the hospital, and there was a liaison committee, all elders there, to stop everyone to give him a blood transfusion because that's what he needed. And
Yes.
her father ran into them like it was nothing. And he went into the room, and there was a doctor there, and he said, I don't know, it's O or something. It's universal donor. The
Oh,
type of
yes.
blood he had.
Type O. Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and he gave his blood to his brother, and he lived like many years more.
Wow.
So that story, it's real. For me, it's my best friend from Belgium. It's the story of her father and her uncle.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I never knew that her uncle was JW. That's how she knew me so much.
Wow.
Wow. That's amazing.
And
That is amazing.
she's the girl that talked to her father, her mother, and the teachers at school and the director of the school. And I was beaten like so many times a week because she saw the mark. She said, "Natasha, you don't fall from a tree. Fuck up that."
Mhm.
And she knew I was beaten badly several times a week. And I told her about the sexual abuse that happened from birth. And so she wanted to get me out of there. And it was 1 minute close, 1 minute more, and I would have been saved. And I would have been her sister because her parents wanted to adopt me, even if they had many kids.
Wow.
That's worldly people for you.
Yes.
Wow. I love it. I
Yeah,
love when
though.
people do the right thing.
Oh yeah. Angels. I call them angels.
Yeah.
The best.
Oh, how we doing on time? I'm sorry. I know.
We are 3 hours, 23 minutes in. Linda James?
Go to bed.
Um, Natasha, if you have anything else, um,
Oh, I just want to see that my mom didn't have that luck because the doctors in Montreal didn't tell us that she needed blood,
okay.
and my father hadn't because my mom was awake, so she would have taken the blood, but
Okay.
he refused that to my mom.
That they let your dad rule.
Yeah,
Have the last word.
he's still in there. He's 90 years old now. My mom died. She was 61.
Wow. That's still
She
very
died on his birthday.
really.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't want to be a downer, but when you told me that story, I said, I know that story.
Watchtower even has a story before it became against God's law. Watchtower talked about a story about someone who needed blood, and
That's
a
right.
man, I believe it was a doctor, literally
Yeah.
put it in his own arm and gave it to her as he was standing or sitting next to her. And the article was
Wow.
brought up in such a way of, wasn't that amazing? You know, that's the reason the article was written, because it was a good thing. So
Wow. I've
yeah.
never heard of that before.
No, me
So when
That's
you
neither.
were
amazing.
so when you're talking about this, Dan, and you're like, "What do you think?" I'm like, "This is
It's already
pretty
been written.
good." But your story is unique too. I mean, it's unique, very unique, but it's along the same lines. And what you were sharing, Natasha, it's along the same lines. And
Now,
yeah, that's pretty
well,
amazing.
and what we're doing differently is we're having different nationalities of different people who see that all life is sacred and doesn't matter if you're black or red or Indian or whatever you are,
No
people
difference.
coming
Yeah,
together, and saying, no, all human life is very important. Dude, we're trying to bring about oneness.
You know what else too? We wanted to say, even though it's not a real story, we wanted to say one more life was saved because so many die in that room. You know, we wanted to be like a hero's journey that everyone goes, yay. The lady
yeah,
breaks in the door, they did this inhuman thing. This guy risked his career, and we just wanted to say at least one person lived,
But
even
my
though it was,
but my friend's father, he had to punch a fucking elder to get in the home of his
well,
yeah,
father. He
they have
punched
power
him.
of attorney. They
No,
have
no, he
power
punched him
of
in the face to
he
get in.
yeah.
punched
To,
him, wow, in the
yes,
face to get in,
to
past the
get in to
liaison.
give his blood to his
Sounds
father.
like sounds like blood was thicker than water on that day.
That's right.
Hmm.
Love that story.
But guys, we want to say this to you guys, all you guys tonight. We love you guys. We really do. And thank you, Linda, for inviting us. Thank you, Matthew.
Absolutely.
You guys are so kind. And thank you, Natasha, for your kindness. We love all you guys, and we're glad to be back with you. And we're glad Angela's been telling me for weeks, Dan, we got to do a video. We got to come back. We got to get
Yes,
back with the people.
yes, yes. And
It was really
your story is true. It's a movie, it's a series, but it's true.
they've
Yep.
been talking about creating this movie for years, and it's
Yep.
neat to hear this one scene and how it's going to affect people. It sounds amazing. I'm
Yeah.
very happy to hear about it. Did you
It
have a
is.
few words you wanted to say, Natasha,
It is
uh,
amazing.
before
Thank
we say
you.
goodnight?
Thank you. You're gonna give a voice to the voiceless.
Yes, yes. And a lot more than that. There's a lot more to the movies. There's elders chastising my dad for not going in service when he was trying to raise four boys, and schizophrenic mother, my mother, and the mental wards, all kinds of stuff that went
Yeah.
on, the fear that we were indoctrinated with, and then eventually the breaking out of it, breaking out of mind control. And I forget all the different scenes. It's
Were
really
you
good.
in 1975?
Yes.
Okay, me too.
I was born in 1959, so I'm 67.
Oh,
I
Okay.
just turned 67.
Well, I'm gonna turn 58 at the end of the month, but I remember 1975 like yesterday.
Yep. Yep. And so, yeah, we got a lot to say, and
Happy Father's Day, everybody.
yeah, happy Father's Day. And we're looking
Oh,
forward because there's some kind of weird thing in us that it has to come out. It's been
Yeah.
haunting us. I don't know. It's some kind of indication, or that I just feel like they can't see. You can't get away when people actually see what goes on in the room. Nobody really knows. They, oh, just witnesses don't take blood. They're crazy. But when you actually see it on cinema, when millions
Mhm.
of people see, they're like, who are these thugs out the outside the door? You know, what are they doing, and why are they stopping that lady's own child? And who are these? It's going to be massive exposure that needs to happen to these people. And I don't know no other way. They say if you want to reach the masses, you got to go on TV, you got to go on television, you got to go to the movies
yes,
to reach millions.
yes.
The movie Apostasy had a bunch of different stories that we've heard about combined into that movie.
It was
And
it was a
it
good
sounds,
movie.
I don't know if y'all have seen Apostasy, but
We haven't seen it yet.
it's on
Apostasy.
Amazon Prime. It's an amazing movie, and
Is it
you'll
Witnesses?
yes, yes,
Oh,
it is so worth it. It's called Apostasy. So when you're talking about your life and things that happen to you, yet you're talking about another situation, I can see you incorporating, this kind of biography with other stories from witnesses and stuff. This is what I'm visualizing, and yeah, check out Apostasy if you can. It's on Amazon Prime.
It was free on Tubi.
on
Okay, there you
Tubi
go.
too.
Too.
Okay. I'll
Yeah.
look at it.
Yeah,
Apostasy. I can't wait to watch it. I'm excited. Thanks for sharing that.
Thank you, guys.
sure, sure. So, if did you want to say a little something, Matthew? Before
Sure.
I
No,
say
well,
goodnight?
thanks very much, Linda James. Again, gracious host. So thank you very much. Big appreciation. And I want to extend that appreciation to everyone. And Natasha, thank you for being here. And of course, everybody in the comments have been engaging with Purple there, or just listening to Purple, and many more. John, J. Mars, and Mage Grey Wolf in the comments. You've been keeping it alive. But just everybody that's engaged in the difficult work of examining their beliefs. Dan, Angela, you are a couple of healers because you're asking the honest questions. You obviously have joy. It's a contagious joy and a principled love, and reclaiming your own capacity to think and feel freely. Dan, I think you narrowly escaped. I really do. I think that it was
Yep.
touch and go on being a real disaster case, but you've come through because and just in reclaiming that the ability to think freely, which is a part of our humanity. It's essential because I just wanted to say, whatever tradition, philosophy, or path a person happens to come from, it takes real courage to look deeply at the stories that have shaped us. You're making movies now. You've got a testimony that's on YouTube. I really hope that this stands to help persons break free from any form of mind control, whether it's religious, political, or cultural, or personal. It's really a single event, and it's often a gradual awakening. So
Yes.
a process of learning to trust one's conscience, experience, and humanity. I believe that we're doing a work here with compassion rather than bitterness, and with curiosity rather than certainty, and with respect for those that are at different stages of their journey. And I really feel that this is front line. So I say thank you. Thank you very much to you, to everybody who shares, listens, questions, and reflects with us. Linda James, you're facilitating a great work here. So
Thank you,
I
Linda.
just hope that
Thank you.
the truth
Guys.
is stronger than fear.
Yes.
Amen. Yeah, I agree. Thank you.
Truth is a true religion.
Thank you,
And
Matthew.
love is always louder than
Amen.
hate. Always.
Thank
Yes.
you, Linda
And
James.
Thank you for
Love
showing
is
up
a
here.
language, guys. Love is a language, and it does bypass the brainwashed mind. Me and Angela were both
Yes,
freed
it does.
because someone
Yes,
loved
it
us.
does. A bottle of Charlie perfume.
Oh, you remember?
That's right. That's the story about Angela. Yes.
Hey, one day,
Okay.
Linda, let's do a show. I mean,
I,
this would be a controversial show, but we should talk
sure.
a little bit about the Bible because I think people need to be aware about how the Bible is used to indoctrinate. And I meant it when I said tonight, when I said that I was, what was the word I used? Groomed.
Yeah.
Groomed.
Groomed.
And I'd
Yes.
like to walk them through that process. You can just walk them right through a Paradise Revelation book and show them the indoctrination. This means
Yes.
everlasting life. The Bible's unequivocally the Word of God. And they got to have those things where they qualify you. And once they say, you agree, right? The Bible's unequivocally written by the hand of God. And and once they get
All
you,
scripture is written.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
In
you
the
know what?
beginning was the word,
And that's the
without it being written, you wouldn't know.
That's right. In the
Mhm.
first stage of every church is you got to believe that the Bible's unequivocally, and then they give you their tapestry.
And inerrant.
But it'd
Yes.
be worth talking about because the what I want to talk about, maybe you guys would do it too, but about where did the Bible come from? I'd like to say, where did the Bible come from? You guys may have already talked about this before. Who put it together? Why was it put it together? Why did the
Mm,
Catholics release it?
mm,
Why,
Right.
what is all this about? Because I hate to say it, guys, but the only way I got out really free was questioning that. Because
mm.
Hmm.
as long as you think that that Bible's unequivocally, every word is the word of God, then you have to believe God's name's Jehovah, that he's this
Sure.
God, the whole thing. And so I used to say that and I used to get in so much trouble. But I'd say
Yeah.
you got to question that very thing. I always get in
Sure.
trouble. She laughs because she knows I'm always in trouble, no matter what.
So let's get Linda to come along and get in trouble too.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
it's the eclectic belief system,
It
Linda
is.
James. That's why we opened an open circle because we said we
Yes.
welcome. Yeah.
I think
Yes.
Matthew could be a lot of trouble too, and maybe this other lady too.
Damn, I am a lot of trouble. I'm like the devil or something. So I mean,
Just as long as you're not the devil with the blue dress on, because that's what I was for
sure,
Halloween.
that's a step too far. Hey?
Thank you. I
And
stand corrected.
I am
Go ahead.
trouble. I am trouble since I was born.
Oh.
I believe it. I believe it. I can tell that. I can hear it in your voice. You don't mess around. I love it.
That's
But
so cool.
let's chat about it. Just
I'm
we don't have
very,
to
very
attack
like,
anything.
yeah, let's
It's
chat about it because
it's
what
not
I
like I'm
don't want it to
luring
be
Linda
is,
in or into anything. But let's
Yeah.
just talk about it
Okay.
friendly chat.
sure. And I don't trust the Bible all the way. So I don't mind bringing up things that will encourage imagination and to get people to critically think. But I don't want to be on here and say Christianity is crap.
No,
And
no,
you know what I'm
no,
saying? Because different people are
no.
drawn to different
Right.
areas spiritually.
You're
And
right.
in my mind,
Right.
I don't want to ever be the one to tell people what their spiritual journey is supposed to be. That's
That's right,
it's
Linda. That's
something they
right.
Yeah.
have in them and they're going to be drawn to it. I'm wanting
So,
to teach the techniques and tactics
right.
that cults
Right.
use so that hopefully
Yes.
we can
Yeah.
recognize them and maybe not get caught up.
And
We
let them
probably
choose.
will, but we'll get out sooner. So
It's more like
that's more,
presenting facts and let everybody else figure it out on their own. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
for example,
hopefully.
like Dan was saying
Hope,
about the revelations and the blood coming up to the cows' necks and
Sure.
all that kind of stuff, and the swords and the blood, and then Jesus was in the Old Test and the New Testament saying to Peter, "Put away that sword. What are you doing?
If you live by the sword, you'll die by the
yeah,
sword.
and if I wanted, I could call on a legion of angels to come and help me right now, but no, this is not God's way. So which
was
Jesus
that
is
when
the
the
right
ear got
Jesus?
cut off of one of the soldiers?
Well, was that Jesus
Yes.
or
Yes.
Jesus? Linda James, did we do the disclaimer?
Not yet. Please do.
So,
Please do.
look, we normally bring in a disclaimer to say, look, it's an open circle, and we say this is a working thesis by persons who've come together as friends who have survived spiritual abuse, and like any working thesis, We encourage an approach with antithesis for synthesis and with a healthy skepticism. And this is part of essential critical thinking, which we greatly encourage. So we don't say that we've got all the answers, but we respectfully embrace all of these different ideas because we're working through this. And this is the healthy thing that we were denied. So we
That's
have
right.
it, and
Yeah.
we're very grateful for that.
Yes.
How
Yeah,
does
I
that
like
sound?
that. I love it. That was perfect.
Very nice.
You know,
Yes,
and
definitely.
sometimes I want to talk about, and Linda's heard us talk about it before, but the spiritual nature of Scripture, the metaphysical behind the spiritual. Like, I'll give you one example, and that'll be it. But Lot's wife, remember, the wife of Lot turned into salt. Linda mentioned it tonight, right?
Mhm.
But when you read the metaphysical interpretation of that, it basically says, well, Lot was no better. He had to be drug out, right? But he didn't die. But she turned into a pillar of salt. Why? What is salt? Salt is a preservative. And what happens is if you're looking backwards, you can't move forward. So you're preserved in a space. You know what I mean? That's the metaphysical
Sure.
interpretation of Lot's wife. And there's books on it. There's a metaphysical Bible that I read and I loved it because there was all these what did the wine mean? What did the first and second wine mean? There's a spiritual implication of the first wine and the second wine. Yeah, we'll talk about another one, but why doesn't the second wine run dry? It wasn't, it was written in these allegories and things, but I
Yeah.
can tell, who's the other guy? What's your name? Matthew. I can tell Matthew knows about some of this stuff because I can hear the chuckle. He's like, Dan, you're a
Yes.
devil. You're as bad as I am, he said.
Not at all. I don't think that at all.
I'm
I really
kidding.
don't.
Well, we love you guys, but thank you guys for having us on tonight. And
Thank you, Dan and Angela.
Natasha,
And
thank you
thank you,
too.
Natasha. I just want to say thank you for everybody that showed up tonight. Thank you, Diamond Dave, for joining us, and everybody that listened to the show and maybe didn't speak up or maybe didn't chat. I'm glad you're here as well. And those that listened to the show after we've recorded it, thank you for that as well. This is truly the highlight of my week. My week. I don't do much talking during the week, and then I get to talk here, and it's inspiring to me. You know, you all are inspiring to me, and I get to learn things from different subjects that people bring up, and I get to see things in a different way than how I might have been looking at them. Sometimes I'm wanting to go down that, um, journey and check something out a little bit more. Sometimes I look at it and I think, yeah, I'm going to pass on that one. And that's what I'd like you to do with this show too. If something rings true, that's great. If it doesn't, that's cool too. Take what you like and leave the rest.
Amen.
And really pay attention to your intuition. So I am looking forward to next Saturday night visiting with you here. Last June, I had a very, very tough time mentally. And I remember going through the month in June this time last year, just really having a hard time with things going on in the world. And I didn't get that much this month. And I'm very, very glad that that's not the case. So I just wanted to share a little bit of that because I kind of like to let you guys know when I go through things and when I feel I struggle with clinical depression, and I think many of us do too. And
Yes.
just to let you know, it's actually a normal thing to
Yeah.
be expected for those of us that have, gone through some forms of abuse and stuff like that. So just know that I share it so that I can be relatable with those that go through it too. It's actually a very normal thing to go through.
I
Um,
know.
yeah, you do. You do know. So
Beautiful,
thank
your
you for
transparency. Thank you. Gives
thank
other
you.
people permission.
Yeah, yeah. And this whole oneness, we're in this together, and the way politics are today, the way the world is going today
Uh,
seems very, very uh, unstabilizing. And I'm having pretty much like flashbacks of when I was in this organization. So if you're
Yep.
going through that too, there's a reason for it. This might not be your first rodeo, and you're right, because it's not. So, please know that some things expire, and this too will pass. This too will expire, and I would like you to have hope in how you would intentionally want things to be and start visualizing it, because once there becomes an opening, if we don't have a vision, if we don't have a hope to place in there, somebody else will come along with theirs. So
Yeah.
let's be part of that. If it has to do with people you get together with for picnics or whatever, if it has to do with politics, and you're in a place where you're comfortable looking at politics and voting, and that's great too. Only if you're comfortable. But I do want to share that the reasons what ended up happening with us when we did not vote is we were disenfranchised. And that word means government did not hear us. Okay. We didn't have a voice for the government to hear, because our dedication was to the government of Jehovah. Okay. So if you're okay with being involved in government, please allow your voice to be heard through voting. Again, if it becomes okay with your conscience, and just start getting to know things. So next weekend I will see all of you again. Thank you again for being here.
Not me, not me. It's gonna be my birthday. So
When?
yes, and I'm gonna be alone. So I'm gonna go see the people in a restaurant that I know. I'm gonna
Oh,
buy my
good.
own birthday cake. So
You
I'm
go,
gonna
girl.
make them write on it. Happy birthday to me.
Oh, that's
Happy
so
birthday.
cool.
Happy birthday.
When is your when
It's
is the
next
date?
week. It's next week. It's exactly 7 days. Yeah.
7 days a week.
On
Wow.
Saturday night?
Yeah.
Well,
I know a really great out of tune version of Happy Birthday if you show up. But if you're hanging with your friends, like live friends, don't show up. Hang with your buddies. Okay?
Yeah. Here's
I
what.
happy
can,
Or
birthday to
I
I
might
can,
just
you.
I
sing it
can,
for
I
Oh, it's
can go,
starting
I can go
already.
outside. I can go outside.
Okay.
Happy
Yeah.
birthday to
To you.
you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear Natasha. Happy birthday to you.
And many
Oh.
more.
That was so
Oh,
cool.
it's so nice.
All
It
right.
was my birthday, June 14th.
Yep.
Oh,
Oh
it's
my
I have
God,
the same
Flag
birthday
Day.
as Trump and Carrie
That's
Kay.
right.
We all have the same birthday. Oh my goodness.
my
Yeah.
best friend from Belgium. Her birthday is the 13th. It's exactly 2 weeks. 13th of
Wow.
June. Yeah. The one in
Right.
Belgium that her uncle saved. Her father saved her uncle with a blood transfusion,
Yeah.
punching an
Wow.
elder in the face. Yeah,
Yes.
that one. She's
That's
Wow.
coming
awesome.
back in 2 years because we're gonna turn
Okay.
60 in 2 years.
That's a
You,
great
you're gonna.
celebration, man.
All right, let's get
Yeah.
Linda to bed, guys. Let's get Linda to bed.
Yeah,
Oh,
we gotta get
thank you.
Linda to
Anyway,
bed.
thank you guys. It's wonderful.
We've got a
Your
good mother in the room.
your project is wonderful. I love it.
You guys
I
are
do
doing a
too.
great job, by the way. We tune in a lot of times, but we had a hell of a time getting in tonight. I don't know what happened. Normally, you just hit the button and it takes you to the
Yeah.
studio, but it tells you your microphones are off, your cameras are off, and it makes you punch in codes and all kinds of weird stuff.
It is
Oh,
different.
wow.
It is different,
Okay.
yeah. Used to be able to get right on. You just hit it, and then it said enter studio, and then you were on. And but now it has like different permissions. You got to type in your Google, name, your passwords, your
I think it's where y'all live. What did you guys say you had? Like that community.
yeah,
I bet you
yeah,
it's them. I bet you it's them. And I'm just guessing.
yeah. Could be.
Let me know.
Yeah,
Let
we
me
will.
know.
But we've enjoyed it tonight, guys. You guys are
Good.
awesome.
It's
You guys are doing a good job. We've listened several times and very intellectual, very informative, very teachable, learnable, open, non-judgmental. You guys are very kind. It's such a refreshing. I like it. I don't go on anywhere anymore. Pretty much this is this one, or we just, like I said, we did a video tonight in a year and a half. We made a short little video saying we're back. We're gonna do some stuff, but we sure miss all you guys.
right on. Yeah, this is,
And
you know,
don't you think that Matthew is more than a sidekick?
That he's
more than a
what?
sidekick. Oh, yeah.
He's more than a sidekick.
Yeah, I thought he was a psychic.
More than a sidekick.
Sidekick.
I know, I know.
Yes.
I'm sorry for my accent and my yeah. I'm
Your
sorry.
accent is beautiful. I love
No,
your
it's
accent.
not. Most of people don't understand me.
I do. And if I don't, I just ask you to repeat.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
right.
That's what lovely people do.
That's right. Well, guys,
Exactly.
we're gonna get off here ourselves. We're gonna get off. It's almost 2 a.m. here. So,
Okay. Sleep well.
all right, we will. Angela said she loved you guys. We love you guys.
Love you guys too.
All right.
Good night.
We'll
And
talk
now I'm
soon.
setting the end stream button. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
I never made it, but I know I